Live. We are live.
Read that guy's stuff.
Live, 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 live.
It's Tom.
We're live.
Oh shit. Oh, you didn't even tell me we're live.
I just said it. I sung it.
My bad. You better cut that.
What the? Okay. Sorry. We're letting people.
We're having technical difficulties.
Not technical. Yeah. It's just, we're letting people get on. I'm going to double check that the audio's playing. But...
Jack needs to be messaging me.
Who?
Jack.
Jack.
Yeah.
Don't. Jack Strong?
No.
He wants a raise?
No, not Jack Strong. Jax. I'm not talking about Jack. That's Jack Strong. See, it's funny because that Fortune's normally the one that says the stuff wrong, and then producer Adam over here.
The producer. Are we live? What's up? We're live in the wrong.
Am I supposed to be doing this in character the whole time?
You can fade in and out maybe. I'm trying to figure out if we're even live. Are we live?
You know what? I'm gonna do a duel. I'm gonna do a duel this year. I'm gonna give what I personally think, and then I'm gonna give what Fortune thinks, and I'll switch between voices when I do it. So we'll have 2 votes. Do you ever splice your character between your normal self? Like, do you ever think is danger one thing and then think is Alex something else? So we'll have 2 votes.
When it comes to the camera, I always stay in character.
Oh, okay.
We are fine. We are live. Let me share everywhere. Okay.
I need to make sure my moves are not showing. Come on, guys. There we go. They can't see it now.
Boom, 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 boom.
I could do the Lex Luger thing. Let's see here. I used to work out way back in the day.
Y'all can chat amongst yourself about how you felt this year so far. Just overall, your overall feelings of the 2025 year of SWF.
I don't even remember much about 2025.
My God.
Was it that forgettable?
Yeah, well, especially when you hit your head in the turnbuckle, you tend to forget most of 2025.
Well, I noticed we had some ups and downs. We had some pretty cool people show up. I thought there was like them the luchadors we had at the Comic-Con. They were pretty athletic. They're pretty cool. Of course, I like having Sons of Plunder around. Remsen, the Mountain. We've had a lot of different cast of people. We got new people. This year has been, I think, a year for SWF to grow. And I think it's expanded, it's grown a little bit, it's kind of spread its wings.
Yeah, it has grown already. It's outgrown Sylvie.
Yep, maybe so.
And that's why we have a bunch of morons starting up a new promotion.
Oh my God, don't do that. Don't do that yet.
You're a bunch of traitors.
Oh my God. Okay.
Are they traitors or are they inspired?
Oh my God.
There are people I don't trust.
Jesus Christ.
I will not mention them by name because I don't care.
Okay. Let's start things off, guys. Let's recap the year. We're gonna go through month by month. I want you to mention. I want you to say when we say like a match that might stick out to you. There's some that stick out to me, and I'll mention some too. If anything, I want to go through and like just mark things that stick out. Also try to retain, because we're gonna have to choose event of the year. We're gonna do top 5 for event of the year.
Can we do heel and face of the year as well?
We can do heel and face of the year.
Yes.
And then of those 2, you have to pick performer of the year, right?
Yeah. I get 2 picks though, because I brought somebody with me. How you doing? Fortune's here, so he's getting a pick too. Okay, I'm ready, bro.
But so yeah, are you guys ready to relive SWF 2025?
Yeah, this is where Danger gets to bash everybody and I get to laugh about it.
All right. The first event we did this year was a tribute show. It's for Social Winter Tribute. A fellow wrestler, friend, passed away. Determination. We started this year off somber. We started this year off somber. But we've still put on an event. It's our last show at the Boys and Girls Club. So let's go through Determination the Social Winner Tribute Show. We did Phoenix versus Drake Bishop for the Satsuma Valley Championship in a 30-minute Ironman match where Drake Bishop picked up the win.
If I remember, that was actually a solid match.
No, it was, yeah.
It was probably one of the better matches.
Yeah, I remember being shocked because I remember some people were like, wow, they go, why would you do an Ironman match? No one in your company can do an Ironman match, man.
Them two did.
I'm like,
both Drake and Phoenix are both solid wrestlers. They really are. And they have to get their props. So that was one of the better matches to me. What did you think?
Who refereed that match? You remember?
No, I can't remember the ref.
Was that referee Ember?
No, I don't know who refed it.
Yeah, I can't remember who refed it. I remember the match though. The minute you said that, I was like, it popped in my head. It was the long match.
I don't remember if there was a botch that led to a bad finish or what.
I think that match is pretty straightforward. But I could be wrong. But
Yeah, I did not. We did not write down any of the refs alongside these matchups.
Well, shout out before we get started to Vivian, T. Gilmore, Cameron Lyons, Ref Canelo, aka Adam Tomplate, and Amber, as I would say, or Amber, Nightingale, or isn't it Nightingale?
I think yeah.
And speaking of T. Gilmore, make yourself a New Year's resolution to lose 40 pounds before you ref your next match.
Oh my God!
And for me, just get better, okay, man? Just get better. Good cop, bad cop, maybe.
You know what's shocking this year? Who's ref of the year? Is it associate? Is ref of the year associate? Is ref of the year Vivian Sport? Who's ref of the year right now? Who really stood out as a referee? I mean, we've had a bunch of guest refs.
Yeah.
You know, we've relied on.
I think we should do a ref of the year and the guest ref of the year, because I already know who the guest ref of the year probably is.
Who?
I mean, I'm not gonna say it right now.
Okay.
Let's save that for later.
Match number 2 was, I'm sure it's one of Danger's favorite matches, Creator Wrestler versus Gluttony.
Who's Gluttony again?
He's the Jeeper Creeper.
All right, but it's Creator Wrestler versus Gluttony. Do you remember the debut of Creator Wrestler?
Yeah, I wish he'd come back.
Whatever, you hated him. You know you did.
I have to admit something.
What?
As myself, I thought at first it was a bit too goofy, too corny. Not that the creative wrestler, the idea wasn't a good idea. I just think the way it come out, it seemed too kooky.
Yeah.
I think it should have been something like I get the outfit where it looked like it could be anybody, but I thought like the music to it, it took me out of it. It was goofy enough as it was. It didn't need help to get goofy. And I think it should have been like a serious type character that we didn't know what it was, and it had its own moveset. I think if we ever do that again, it would be cool if you like did different versions of the character in different colors and different movesets and had someone pick that, and then someone had to portray it, almost like they're portraying a role that they're already, in the ring.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time it come out, it was a bit wonky to me.
Well, I hope that creative wrestler can return in 2026 so we can finally get the dream match of creative wrestler versus Superior Sullivan. And by the way, Superior Sullivan, come back to America.
Then we had Jack Strong versus Dusty James, which I forgot we did this match. I don't know how to say it. So it might have been good. I really just can't even. It's definitely different from I remember Phoenix and Drake Bishop.
Yeah, I do.
When I go through this list, when I was writing this down, I'm like, oh shit, we did Jack Strong versus Dusty James. What? We did that, So that was a bit.
I remember during that time, Dusty James's character. I don't know. I think he had already transitioned out of the Kingdom by then, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he was a bit on a run during that time, if I'm not mistaken. He was doing pretty good for himself. I can't remember who won the match, but I remember there was a couple of moves within the match that was pretty good. I think Jackson did a few moves that were really awesome looking, considering how big Dusty was. But as far as the match was concerned, I don't recall hating it or just completely, loving it. I think it was just a solid match.
Yeah. Next up, it was Dante Alfredo versus Cody Hawkins, which I found to be a hard-hitting match, and actually one of the reasons why I remember it so much is because they did a combo in the match that has gotten it's like one of the shorts that have gotten like so many views. So I've been constantly reminded of that match all year, basically because that spot they did has been getting views. Like it gets like 20 views every week.
Again, them both solid wrestlers. Every time I've seen Cody Hawkins, he's did pretty good, and every time I've seen Dante, he's did pretty well too. And I remember that match was really good.
Yeah. Next up, we had the Socio Slobber Knocker match for the APOC title that it ended with Grizzly and Associate, with Associate getting the win with Socio's finish.
Wasn't there a backstage altercation afterwards? I'm not wanting to name what happened, but if I remember right, somebody was supposed to be thrown over and they refused, and it caused some sort of turmoil later.
No, that was Poison.
Okay, Poison. Okay,
that was the previous year.
Okay,
that was the previous year. No, no. In fact, I'll say that the Slobber Knocker match was odd because it was like King Violent actually had like a good moment in there. It had like a little moment that was good, and it was like how he like was twirling something. I don't know. He was just doing something weird, and we haven't seen that side of him since.
Do you remember any of that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Then that's not gonna be one of the better matches.
I know. And then the main event was Tyson Sport defending against Ethan Sorrow. This is the match where they did the baby powder into baby powder finish.
I want to say, if I remember that match right, there was some good spots from both of them. The way the finish manifested itself, I think it was like it wasn't like spectacular, but it wasn't bad either. Mm-hmm. Because both, again, Tyson is, I'll give him his flowers here. He's a pretty solid wrestler, and he's really good on the promos. Ethan Sorrow, again, solid wrestler. So I mean, from what I remember of the match, it was pretty good match.
Yeah. All right, so that was determination. So far, we said Phoenix and Drake Bishop kind of stood out to this one.
See, to me, if I was going to give out of all that entire that event, if I'm going to give that match of that event to Phoenix and Drake, it's mainly for two reasons. One, during the match, they seemed like they there was never a point where I thought definitively like, okay, they're over tanked out. What are they still doing? And two, they kept it going pretty good. So, I mean, there was a lot of extra difficulty in maintaining that match that we have to consider. Not just because, oh gosh, they must be better wrestlers than everybody. Fortune thinks or Kevin thinks that they're... I just think that match, for what it was, they did exceptionally well.
Yeah. Any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns about determination?
Well, aside from the Socio winner memorial, there really wasn't much to go off on.
Okay. How would you grade this? Both of you, how would you grade this from an A to F?
Okay, F being either...
Flop.
F being maybe Soggy Bottom Saloon, and A maybe being Eternal Conflict or a Bullfish.
Yeah.
Or our first couple of shows at the Boys and Girls Club. I would grade this whole show as probably a B-.
B-. So we got Fortune with the B-. What you got, Danger?
I'm going to give it a D.
B-, and Danger with a D. Gotcha. Next up, Game Over.
Uh-oh.
First show at the warehouse. We had a cold opening. We did a little different. Cold opening. Phoenix versus Dusty James, father versus son.
Yeah, it started out in the billiards room, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we had Phoenix versus Dusty James, and it was pretty good. It was okay.
Yeah, I thought what did you think about it?
I don't even remember it.
Well, I remember it. And it was pretty good. A little bit of domestic stuff happening, but we'll look past that. Anyway, I thought it was a pretty good match. I think them having good chemistry with each other, they put on a pretty decent match. You got the fans involved right out the gate. Some interaction with the fans as they brought the action to the ring. I thought it was a pretty cool idea to start the billiards room, which if I remember right, they're the ones that wanted to do that. So it ended up pretty well.
Match number 2. Tyson Sport and Drake Bishop versus Mike Grizzly and Broom.
I'll let you go first. I remember this match very vividly.
It sucks because the wrestlers don't know how to wrestle a broom.
Damn it.
The match had its ups and downs, but I think the problem was how the broom was utilized. Because you have to play a song and dance to where you have to somewhat, even though the thing can't move, you have to make it seem like it can. So the idea, in hindsight, I would have probably left the broom out personally.
Yeah.
And either just had another wrestler or maybe had some sort of gimmick where Grizzly was having to do a handicap match. They tried.
I don't think he ever tagged the Broom in.
Well, that's the part of the problem.
I think it was a handicap match. I think it was gimmicked to be kind of like when they did the McMahons versus HBK and God. You remember that?
Yeah, what would have been cool would have been like, hypothetically, what if the broom was left against the corner?
Yeah.
And Grizzly crawls and hits the broom, and then when he does, he kind of flings the broom, and it looks like the broom is like splashing on it. I mean, but like I said, in hindsight, so far the only person I've seen that's been really good at, with the broom is like, sitting next to me.
Yeah.
So
SuperDanger.
I mean, I still laugh at that promo that the broom did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the moves in the ring when the wrestlers were engaged were good. I just think the broom spot took me out of it because I just didn't have experience doing it.
Third match was Robert Gray versus Scotty Hayes in a submission match.
What is your thoughts?
I don't even know what that match is.
The submission match.
My thoughts on that match I remember pretty decent. There were some good moves. But these are two people that predominantly don't use a lot of submission moves, so I kind of thought it was awkward to put them in it.
Yeah.
They should have been like a First Blood or a Last Man Standing.
Well, it was because of the tap situation at Halloween Bash.
Yeah, I get why it happened, but the two of them really wasn't.
Yeah,
when I think of Scotty Hayes, I think of him being more of like a straightforward wrestler who can do pretty good leg drops. He probably has some of the best leg drops we've seen.
I mean, he's a good wrestler, but he's crazy outside the ring.
And that could be true. And as far as Robert Gray, since he first showed up in SWF, I've always thought he's had pretty cool potential. And I think as of right now, he's gotten better. Now he has had hiccups.
Yeah, no, and we'll go through those hiccups because
I know.
And because Robert Gray, he had a rough start this year. This back half of the year, he's really fucking turned a corner. But I mean,
he's either killing people or killing himself.
But Robert Gray versus Scotty Hayes submission match. Robert Gray, I think Robert Gray tapped out Hayes, and there was a big contention like, oh, I'd have tapped fine.
Yeah.
Anyways, the next match was Elle House Tragedy making their tag team debut. Elle House Tragedy versus Scorched Earth Society, who was managed by Jade Sawyer. So it's Jade Sawyer's debut.
I'm going to let him go first because you're not going to like what I say about this match.
I got you.
I can't.
Well, I don't even remember the match.
Oh my god.
I do. See, the presentation of y'all coming out was good.
No, which
And
one?
This match.
The Elle House one?
Yeah.
The-
Like y'all's first time coming out was cool. And getting in the ring and everything. But the biggest problem I seen in that match was there was two things going on. You had some inexperienced people in the ring with a guy that had ring rust so thick it would have took you like Thor's hammer to bust. And then you had only one guy in the ring that actually knew what he was doing. And I think what happened when you were in that ring, whether you meant to or not, you put a big spotlight on any of the deficiencies from any of the other guys. And when they were both in the ring, you had a really rusty guy trying to lead a very new guy, and it caused a lot of problems. Probably in hindsight, I would not have put a brand new team against you with King Violent being super fucking rusty. That probably just, in hindsight, would have been better to have two experienced people with you and King Violent where you get his feet wet.
Yeah.
And then for the new guys, I thought they did pretty well because they were new. I liked them. They did what they could do, and they were listening. If I remember right, they were training a little bit actually before the show started.
Yeah.
And some of the things they trained, they did well. But I think in hindsight, they should have been put with like maybe 2 people that because I mean that left you. I'm gonna break the wall. That left you in the ring trying to like teach, micromanage, and off skate too many things at one time.
Yeah.
So that was my personal opinion.
Man, you don't remember Jade Sawyer's debut?
Well, I remember her, but I don't remember.
You'll remember now.
Man, that Jade Sawyer, like, I think grabbed at me during that match. I like that match mainly because I messed up what's his name.
And for the record, I would like to thank Miss Jade Sawyer for releasing him long enough to do this review.
Yeah, I like doing the guillotine, the bottom rope guillotine to those people. Anyways, we got the next up. We got this is both their first match of the year for SWF. This next match is both their first match of the year for SWF because they both missed January. It was Stevan Rimson versus Colton Keith, number 1.
You want to go first?
I'd say that Stevan was okay in his first match, but Colton Keith had a little more edge.
My problem in that match was, to be fair, I get how big Stevan Rimson is. And I get that behind the story, he's more accomplished, he's wrestled longer, he's been trained. But if I'm a person sitting down watching a match, there comes a point where if you squash somebody too hard, I can't believe that person can beat anybody. And some of that match was really good, but in my personal opinion, I felt like Colton should have got a few more spots. Maybe out of desperation, maybe some extra drop kicks, maybe just a Hail Mary attempt of trying to get back in the match. But if I remember right, he got that beat out of him like that shit.
Yeah, he
had no. I'm gonna tell you right now, it was me. In my mind, I was laughing because I have a dark sense of humor. And when I'm seeing someone beat the hell out of somebody, I can't help but laugh. Even if someone's beating the hell out of me, I think I'll be laughing at some point in time before I lost my laugh. But dude, it's like he come in, and I'm like, man, Colton's just got this, he might not be as strong as Rimson, but he's almost as tall as him. He's got reach, and then if you add the fact he can be athletic, maybe they'll offset it a little bit. But then, dude, he ran into a wall, and I mean, he just got the shit. Boom! It was almost like watching a Rocky movie where Rocky doesn't ever come back. He's taking all these damn hits, and you're like, okay, he's gonna finally get back to his feet. Nah, boom, done. But I mean, I think Colton did really good selling, and I think Rimson did really good applying all the spots, making it look believable. They did a good job. I just think there could have been a little extra, little more, even if it was a sliver of hope that maybe Colton could come back. But other than that, I mean, it wasn't a horrible match. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. Next up, we had Ethan Sorrow versus Damian Sport. And I really don't remember this one.
Actually, what I remember about this is kind of the same thing, which you can go ahead. I've already got it in my head. What?
I don't remember it.
Okay.
I remember feeling deja vu on this match from the other match. I felt like Damian got some spots, but I don't think, if I remember this match right, I don't think that Damian got much of a run. I think Ethan pretty much beat the brakes off of him. Which I'll be wrong, but I felt like I felt like that when you go into a match and you book somebody that's really big and get someone that's not so big, one thing you can do is you find something that the smaller guy can do to kind of make it seem like there's some stakes to the match, right? So if I'm a smaller guy and you're a big guy, there's got to be some spots somewhere along the way where maybe there's a drop kick to the legs, maybe there's a miss hitting the turnbuckle, something that equalizes to where me as an audience goer can go, okay, he has a chance, even if he has none. And the thing is that I just remember getting a little bit of deja vu from them 2 matches, and that tells me that there might have been a bit too much on one side.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I could be corrected, but I don't think they did. The thing is, I don't think they did anything that was bad. Like I don't remember any botches in this match.
Yeah.
I just, in hindsight, I just remember I think Damien get the shit beat out of him. That's pretty much about it.
And then the main event was a tag title match. It was the Lost Boys versus Morbius and Hawkins. And this was, I'm going to mark this down because this was, I think this was the one good match. This was like the.
No.
Yeah.
Go ahead, but.
Damn, you don't remember Game Over at all. You were out of it. You were on drugs.
You know why he don't remember it? Because most of the matches, even though I'm giving my personal opinions, when I say this, guys, I'm not saying, like, for example, I'm not saying Colton and Remsen's match was bad. I'm not saying that Ethan and Damien's match was bad. I'm just giving my ideas on what could be better, right?
Yeah.
So, just being in hindsight, which is, of course, that's a privilege I get. I'm not in the ring doing it, but just, but this tag match was really good. I remember it was really good because I was just shocked,
Yeah.
Because, one, when Von Crow is out there wrestling and he's committed to it, he does a damn good job. Again, Fredo, always good. I remember a lot of it because of his accent, because of how he says it. And, of course, Morbius and Hawkins are just phenomenal. So, I mean, that match to me was really good. I think Von Crow is one of the best sellers. So, I mean, not only do you got people that are really good on offense, like Hawkins and Morbius, but you got somebody in the ring that's going to take some really good sells and really bring you into the match. And I think any match is good when you can almost forget you're commentating for a moment and you become a viewer. And that's not to give all these props to that match and say all the other matches were not on this level. But I just remember tag matches to me are harder in some ways to work than single matches. Because you just got to worry about yourself, and then the other guys only got to worry about him. Well, tag matches is more of a song and dance. You have to remember certain etiquettes to tags. You don't want to drag your opponent to his own corner, things like that. And you should only really be working three. And I think you would agree with me. You should only really work 3 posts when you're on the opposite team. You should never work that other post.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there's more difficulty involved. Is why I'm giving it flowers, and the fact that it's so smooth. There was storytelling involved. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't that where they were starting to see the betrayal a little bit, or maybe Hawkins maybe he didn't betray, but there was like they were started. Had they started that yet, or was it coming up?
I think they hadn't started it yet.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure because I remember they were tags, and then we started seeing little pepperizations that led to that. So I was trying to remember that.
How do you grade this show? A through F.
Oh, you want me to go first?
I guess I'm gonna say D minus.
D minus, baby. D with a D minus.
I'm gonna give this a B plus because I think the show before this, besides the Iron Man match and one other match, the other matches wasn't horrible, and I'm not saying they were, but I think at this show the matches were a little better. There was less botches, which I'm saying there wasn't a ton of botches before, and there was a lot of good matchups. Like to me, here in Remsen versus Colton on paper, regardless if I'm Colton's manager or not, that's just a good match to see. And Cody Hawkins and Morbius together with Alfredo and Von Crow, that just equals a good match. Damien has to have his flowers. He sells like a motherfucker, and props to you, Damien. And Ethan, you're a damn good wrestler. So, I mean, we had some really good matches there all the way across the board. Even going back to Ash and Dusty, and all the ones in between. Y'all's match on paper was good. I think the other problem in y'all's tag match, like I said, was just inexperience and rustiness. If you'd have took that out of the equation, y'all probably would have had a good match.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a B plus.
B plus. Number 3, guys. Whew. In Our Blood might have been our most controversial show we've ever done in our lives. But there is moments that we're going to talk about, that especially one big moment that I really loved.
Oh my gosh. Was it me?
No, maybe. Oh, that too. Two moments. No. At some point in Game Over, at some point in that B plus, you got the Fago spot.
Okay.
Fago, maybe. Oh, I think Associate helped screw Ethan. Is what happened.
Yeah, because he was still part of that faction.
Yeah.
And that's when the splash happened.
Yeah.
And I want to give Bobby props to this. that spot that me and Bobby did, I think it got a lot of views.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I appreciate him playing along with me. Dude, the facial expressions he did, I think we synergized really well. Like, for my anger, grabbing him up like I'm Batman, I'm Fortune, you know? And him going, that snivelly look he did, it was amazing. Props to you, Bobby. You're damn good. Your emotions, you know, you do damn good job on all that.
Fagu!
Fagu!
It was banned!
It was banned!
Now, in our blood, this is going to be interesting. We opened the show with a Tyson Sport handicap match where Tyson Sport fought all the handicap people in SWF. That's Tom Hope, Coach, and SuperDanger. No, that's a joke, guys. But it was a Tyson Sport handicap match. And at the end of this match, one of my favorite spots was when SuperDanger.
We'll call this show The Receipt. There was a title.
SuperDanger punched the shit out of Tyson Sport. He knocked him out with that punch.
And it was a legit knockout.
So what was the first match? It was the handicap match? How do you grade that?
Well, the match itself is probably going to be a D because of how the first part of the match was executed, because of how Tyson did not execute the spot correctly regarding Coach.
See, and this is where I'm gonna be a little judgy. I'm gonna agree with Danger on this. The idea was cool. Don't get me wrong here. The idea of doing this was very shock and awe. Just a good way to get a lot of heat for Tyson. The idea was good. The execution was horrible.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, and I'll say this till the moon falls off, they should have never put, in my opinion, Coach in that position. And I'm speaking behind the curtain, as Kevin. I think the way the match would have been more smoother would have been if his henchmen grabbed up Coach and threw him back in the ring.
Yeah.
Let them help him get to his spots. And you would have had a more entertaining, and then I will give, hey, you know, y'all can say what y'all want. I will give Tom Hope flowers because he did try to train and practice for that spot. He come up to every practice. I was there when I seen him. He was busting his butt trying to hit that spot.
Yeah.
Flowers to you, Tom. I would give flowers to Danger. He made that entertaining. And I mean, I would give flowers to everybody that was involved. That's really my biggest complaint. But it was such a sore thumb on the whole thing. Like, Drake did his spot really well. Damian did his spot really well. Tyson was hilarious. The antics he did in the ring was hilarious. It's just that one spot just darkened the whole thing. And that just goes back to it. I mean, one little thing can disrupt the whole match.
Well, another complaint was that Tyson Sport was already gassed in the first few minutes of the match, so he had to get through his spots as quickly as possible. Tyson, do yourself a favor. Quit eating junk food and lose some weight.
Oh my gosh.
That match bled in because Grizzly and Phoenix came to help the people, and that bled into a tag match: Grizzly and Phoenix versus Bishop and Damian. I don't really remember the match itself. I just remember that it happened, and that I think how he got there, like how it all bled. Both those matches are kind of like one match, you know. It's kind of like, it's like very segmentized.
Yeah, from a match to a story point to a match.
Yeah,
it just like ebb and flowed.
Yeah,
I remember that match being pretty good. To me, it kind of offset what happened over there because, like I said, that whole incident in that first match, it put Tyson and Coach both in compromising positions. And so I think that tag match kind of brought the energy back to the show a little bit. I remember them all doing really well. Of course, anytime you have Grizzly out there and Phoenix, I mean, they're both super over when they're faces. Mm-hmm. And Damien and Ghoul, you know, they work really well together. You got one guy that can sell his butt off in Damien. You got the other person that can really put in the offense with Ghoul, and I think they work well as a tandem.
I think it was the punch that got the crowd back into the event.
Well, I'm not denying that.
Next up, we had the Associate versus Robert Gray.
That match was botched.
Yeah, that match was botched.
But who's to blame for it? Both men?
I think so, personally.
But that was Associate versus Robert Gray. Then we did Victor Morbius versus Tesman Thibodeau.
That was actually a really good match.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna wait till you read the rest of them. But before saying anything else, that was probably one of my favorite matches because it was more of a technical match, and that's something we didn't get to see a lot of. So it was refreshing to just see a normal kind of like old school match. Props to Desmond Thibodeau and Adam. You should definitely bring him back if you don't get crazy.
Yeah.
And Morbius did an amazing job in that match. I think Morbius got to stretch his technicality skills a little bit in that match. Maybe he could give me some feedback if he didn't, but I kind of felt that he got to do that.
Oh yeah.
Because it was really cool. But dude, it was just. I got to sit back and think I was watching like an old school Ric Flair versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat type match where they're just having some really good back and forth. Mm-hmm. So I enjoyed it.
Next up, we had Creator Wrestler versus King Violent.
I already know what I'm gonna say.
It was not good, and Creator Wrestler started drowning because of the water. Well, it was terrible.
Again, I will say this again: putting a rusty wrestler in there with some crazy wonky activity just created chaos. I'm not even going to grade it.
I got you.
Yeah, that match was more chaotic than Aiden's existence.
Oh my gosh! Shout out to Aiden for Danger not wanting to.
Next up, we had a fatal four-way. It was T.D. Shepard versus Hawkins versus Hayes versus Colton Keith.
I have something to say about this, but I'm going to let him go at it first.
I have nothing to say because I don't remember it.
I remember that match was supposed to be something different. I remember coming up there, and somebody there was trying his best to try to get everything organized, and I appreciate his effort. And somebody decided to go into business for themselves and hold the show hostage to get their way, just for them to get into the match and then get hurt. I didn't appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think the other performers got screwed in that scenario. I think the other guys, Hawkins, Colton, and who was the other guy besides Hayes?
You said T.D. Shepard?
No, I didn't say. Okay, yeah. I think they did a good job, and I think Hayes did a decent job going off. But I mean, you could tell because the match just got turned from something that it wasn't, and it just they were trying to make mashed potatoes out of chicken soup.
Yeah.
So it ended up a potential for a really great four-way. It didn't pan out that way.
And then we, with the main event, we got into this weird territory of the Alfredo's missing a partner storyline. And so we had Alfredo and Psycho in an odd pairing versus Sons of Plunder. Danger.
Was this one of the matches you almost got up and left and I had to talk you into staying?
Yeah, because it was how it's so badly booked.
My personal opinion is that match was pretty decent on paper, because Psycho's a good wrestler. Not saying that because you're
Oh
here.
my God.
This is not some sort of weird stuff, but you're a good wrestler. You understand tag team dynamics. Obviously, Alfredo does. And Sons of Plunder most definitely understand tag team dynamics.
Yeah.
But I think, again, it was one of them things where it just felt like some of the spots that y'all had didn't really mesh with y'all's gimmick. Like, for example, we all know that Iron Belly's gimmick, what his belly is, it just seemed like people that sometimes were trying to go to the belly too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that some of the choreography in some of the spots that I remember wasn't really jiving well. But it wasn't a horrible match to me.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't the most horrible match of the night by no stretch. But that's just my take on that.
Grade this show, A through F.
You going first or me?
You this time.
It sucks because there was a couple of really good matches in here, and there was like an awesome spot, the receipt,
Yeah.
And I did like the Desmond Thibodeau and Morbius match a lot because I'm an old school guy. But the thing is when you throw in the botch, you throw in some of the mismatched matches, I think I'm gonna give it a C.
C.
Not a C plus, not a C minus, just a C.
C.
I'll give it a C minus.
C minus. Jesus, you're saying this one's better than Game Over and fucking Determination. Okay. Next up. Woo. Okay, so we're not gonna judge. We did excessive performance and Out for Lunch, and we're not even including them. It was kind of like not including them. So we're skipping all the way to May. We're skipping April. We're skipping all of April. All the things we did in April, which was. But the one notable thing that happened in April was that Damien Sport won the Apocalypse Championship in a Battle Royal. That's the main thing that happened in April. Total Mayhem. Come back to May. We opened up with Hawkins versus Phoenix versus Drake Bishop for the Satsuma Valley. Drake Bishop retains. David Danger, you don't remember none of this stuff. I should have made you.
No, because the reason why I have a hard time remembering things is because the matches are not captivating.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Even if it's good, it ain't captivating.
I remember this was a pretty solid triple threat. And I think the guys got a little bit of shine there. I mean, of course, he retained. But again, it wasn't something that makes me just jump up and down. Mm-hmm. But it was solid.
Match number 2. Morbius versus debuting Havoc.
Well, all I'll say is that Morbius did a fantastic job, and Ronnie Havoc, you suck. Go back to the crawfish farm in Louisiana.
Crawfish farm in Louisiana.
Okay, I'm not going to be that bad. I think in hindsight, this is another example, kind of like I pointed out, when we had you in that tag match, where you have one guy that knows what he's doing. He's not rusty. He's not inexperienced. But he's in there with somebody that either A is rusty or B that is really green. And I think as much as Morbius in this match tried to cover Ronnie, it's almost like it did the opposite effect. Because me as a viewer, when I'm watching this, and I'm calling it out, it's like you got Morbius over here that's hitting his spots pretty well. You know, even if he slightly messes up, he's experienced to know what to do. But then you got this other guy that looked like he was scared to be in the ring. And I seen it. And I know I wasn't the only one that seen it. And it just had an opposite effect. And it turned me off the whole match.
Next up, we had OG Dollar versus Damien Sport.
It was a good one.
It was solid for me. It wasn't anything spectacular, but it was solid. I liked OG Dollar's performance. Again, Damien sells his butt off every show. And I actually like OG Dollar. I think he's a balling wrestler.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying balling because he's OG Dollar. I'm just saying he was balling. He's a balling wrestler. He's a good wrestler. And I like his attitude. He's a really good guy. I would love to work with him again. I'd love to see him back someday. I thought it was a solid match. I didn't have any complaints.
Next up, we have the match that sparked some mild controversy. Not controversy. What was it? Everyone was like trying to figure out, trying to find who to blame for who, what to blame for what. It was solid, but there was a big boo-boo that happened. And that was Alfredo and Robert Gray versus Sons of Plunder, where the trash can lid created the Passion of the Viking.
Passion of the Viking.
We got Passion of the Viking, you know.
I want to say Tom Play come up with that name.
Oh yeah.
In the chat.
Passion of the Viking.
Passion of the Viking.
I think Warhammer. I think you could have kept wrestling. You could have bled everywhere on my mat. That would have been sick. We would have tattooed the blood stains on the mat after you bled it to keep it there forever. It'd be like the blood of the Viking. But no, I get it. Like it was a frightening moment because we didn't know how bad it was, how deep the cut was. I mean, I think he's scarred. I think he shows that he's scarred for life probably from that match.
What is your thoughts on that?
I think. You think Robert Gray was responsible for that spot that got him Warhammer busted open or what?
Robert Gray should have hit him with the correct side of the trash can. He hit him with the wrong side of the trash can.
Robert Gray, you're a moron. You need to learn how to do hardcore matches better.
Well, To be fair, I'm gonna say this. This to me was another example of trying to do too much. You got a tag match. You got all this going on. My personal opinion, and I don't know if they practiced this, but I'm gonna go on a little bit of a limb and think they didn't. I think when you go in there, and I'm gonna go on a little rant before we move on. These people think it's cool because they see really experienced guys say, "We're gonna call it in the match, guys. We're gonna call it in the match." And I think from your experience, when you tell these people to do that, do all of them really call it well in the match, or some of them probably need a little more work before they get to that level? I personally think a lot of them ain't got to that level yet where they can call it in the match. And I think this was an example of maybe a little more pre-planning should have been involved if we're going to do this. And I think it was an example that I remember in this match there was too much shit going on. And sometimes, like they say, less is more. I don't think the match itself was horrible. I think there was a lot of things in that match that were pretty good. And I think the idea of them fighting each other was pretty good. I just think they did too much.
Yeah.
And as a result, somebody got hurt.
Next up, we had Colton Keith versus The Mountain.
Best match.
I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm not saying this because I'm his manager, but that was a great match. And I'm going to tell you why. Colton looked amazing in that match. But what was also, I don't know if y'all think this was incredible, but the best sell of this entire show, and maybe the best sell that I can recall for a while, is when the Mountain, as big as he is, sold that Bulldog. There's people that are half his size that don't sell a Bulldog like that. His whole body, go watch it, his whole body was in the air, and he took it like a belly flop. And it was textbook Mountain. You were amazing. That was an awesome performance from you, Colton. You were amazing in that. And I think that moment there was amazing. It looked like a textbook Bulldog. And I just still can't believe he took it like that. Because I thought, to myself, as big as he is, Colton's going to grab him. He's just going to probably drag his legs and just drop. No, he went there. And I'm like, And then I look at some of our smaller guys that can't do that. And I'm like, come on, guys. This big mother just did this. But yeah, that was an awesome match.
And then we had
and you're a piece of trash for putting Colton through hell. It's almost like you forgot you're not your character when you're booking, and not only do you want to pile drive somebody into oblivion no matter where y'all go, but then randomly this MFer's got to fight all these big MFers.
Yeah, Remsen, the Mountain. Next up, I'm gonna defend this match just because.
You don't have to defend it.
No, I'm not. I'm not. You can shit on it. It's fine.
He might.
But it's L House Tragedy versus Jack Strong in a handicap match, and I think. No. That was. Yeah, we were still coming out the weird ways. Like I don't think we debuted our entrance until Summer Bash, from the bar entrance. But yeah, this was L House versus Jack Strong in a handicap match. I like the push-up challenge that Psycho did with Jack Strong. I thought that was funny, little antics. But it was a handicap match against Jack Strong. Just kind of like it acted as a little break between Colton Keith versus the Mountain and the main event. But Danger, thoughts on L House Tragedy versus Jack Strong handicap match?
Indifferent.
Okay.
For me, this is one of Jack Strong's better showings. I think he helped a lot, and I think he also helped. And another thing, I know I've been sitting here talking crap about Keenan being rusty, but I will say this. In this match, Keenan looked a little better. I think the only botch that I remember Keenan doing is his foot got caught in the ropes. That's the only thing I remember. And he didn't lay in a few hits, but Keenan looked a little better. I think Jax helped him out with that. Kudos to you, Jax, for doing that. Jax looked pretty well, and I loved your theatrics. You're absolutely right. It was preposterous because Jax is all ripped.
Yeah.
That'd be like me sitting next to Remsen and going, "Let's do a crunch challenge." Get the bleep out of here with that garbage. But it was awesome. The match wasn't bad to me.
And then the main event, originally scheduled to be Tyson Sport versus Mike Grizzly. Mike Grizzly falling ill, and it was a big shock, a big surprise. We did Tyson Sport versus Rick Wild Lee. He had this grand entrance. The entrance itself, that whole segment to the match was crazy. How was the match itself? Tyson Sport versus Rick Wildley at Total Mayhem when Rick Wildley.
I remember the entrance of Rick Wildley, but I don't remember the match itself.
I mean, I'm not trying to give myself flowers, but I think me and Tyson had a pretty cool promo back and forth. That kind of set that up because I think he was trying to avoid the match. That was kind of like the idea.
Yeah.
And I enjoy any time I promo with Tyson Sport. I even think the last show we just had, me and him had a really good emotional back and forth. Kudos to you, Tyson. I want to say this, Ricka, you did an amazing job on that match. I love some of the moves you pulled off. And I think y'all should both give each other a pat on the back. So I think Ricka should give Tyson a pat on the back, and I'll tell you why. As much as Ricka looked like this badass clown from hell that was about to take some vengeance on somebody, it would have not been as menacing had Tyson not have played it off in fear. The way Tyson looked at him, the way that Tyson played his emotions off to Ricka was amazing. It gave gravitas to his entrance. His entrance already looked like kind of like, freaky. I mean, the way he posed up on that post, looking down at Tyson with that look like, I'm gonna eat you for lunch, boy. It was amazing, and I have to give Tyson props for selling it. As much as I give Ricka props for doing that, I thought their match was pretty good. If I remember right, there was a small botch somewhere in that match, but it wasn't enough for me to go, oh, foul, But
yeah.
I think their match was pretty good. Ricka is just an amazing wrestler. Hats off to you, man. And your gimmick is pretty awesome. And I think both of y'all sold that match. And I remember it was pretty enjoyable.
I'll say one thing about Rick Wildley. Even though he's got a good entrance and he can wrestle, he was just an awful champion. He couldn't even draw a dime.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Total Mayhem graded from an A to F.
You going first or me?
Trying to think, because there was one great match, a couple of okay matches. I'm going to say C.
C from Danger.
I'm going to say B because there wasn't a match there that was just so horrible that it drew the show down, in my opinion. The matches that were good were really solid. There was some decent storytelling involved. But there was no match there that would just jump for joy and go, oh my gosh. But it's not to say that the matches wasn't good. So, I mean, I give it a B.
The next show, after looking back on this,
take that back. Honestly, I give it a B+.
B+.
Yes, because when I really think about it, and I want to change my answer, there was two solid matches to me that the more I start stewing on them, just bring it better than normal. So I definitely B+.
Yeah. B+ for Total Mayhem. Next up, when I was writing this down in my notebook, getting it ready for this show, I was writing down this next show, Golden Summer Bash, and man, I did not like this show. I thought I didn't really like when I'm writing this down, I didn't really like.
Why don't you just erase it and start over?
I didn't really like In Our Blood. I didn't really like In Our Blood.
Who wrote it?
And who wrote it down?
No, who wrote the show?
No, I'm saying that.
I'm picking on
Writing it down, I'm saying when I'm reminiscing.
Yeah.
For my reminiscence, I was like, I'm not sure anything sticks out to me on this one. But Golden Summer Bash. We opened the show. That's another thing. A lot of these shows have good, we do a lot of good promo stuff, I think, in segments. We have a lot better segments at SWF than we do
Well, to be fair,
matches.
you have a decent amount of people that can cut promos.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you have, right now, if we look at the picture, you could cut good promos, Danger can cut promos. I think I'm decent at promos. Y'all can tell me if you agree or disagree. Remsen, Tyson, Babin, Powers, Ricka, just a slew of people, past and present, throughout this whole season. That was one thing we didn't have a short on, is people that could cut good promos. So we were able to pepper that in and keep the show flowing.
Yeah.
I think that was one really strong thing we had, and still have.
Golden Summer Bash. Ale House Tragedy was paired with Super Danger to face Colton Keith, Jack Strong, and Mox Mosley.
I'm going to let him comment. I'm going to let him go first, but I got something to say about that match.
Well, I'm going to say that on the L House Tragedy side, you guys were all right. And I did my best as to what I was doing because I slowed the pace down to where the crowd could digest what I was doing. But as far as the other team was concerned, I mean, aside from Colton Keith, the other guys, they were not cutting it. Colton Keith on the other team was doing his best to cut it loose in there and make it memorable. But aside from me being in the ring a couple of times, the only part of the match that I remember was the finish.
To me, the match was pretty solid, but there was a spot in there that I really enjoyed. It was the choke slam. Colton Keith, and you better take credit for this, you freaking humble piece of trash. You're getting some props today. A hell of a sell on that choke slam. Even you have to admit that his feet were in the. He made Danger look supernatural. And the way, and I gotta give you props. The way you moved your arm and sold it, the way you dropped it, it looked like your Steve Rogers is strong, like you really manhandle somebody. So props to y'all. Again, Keenan didn't have any super botches in this match. I think I disagree. I don't think they did anything crazy or any spectacular. I don't think Colton Keith's partners in this match and everybody that was in it did horrible. I just think they did okay. And so the match itself was not a horrible match. It was a decent. I wouldn't say it was a great, okay. And before I go, because I know some people, when you're passionate about a project and you put your body into it, and you hear people say the words like, it's okay, it was all right. For me, when I say it's okay and all right, that means it's pretty good. Because I'm probably never going to give a solid A+ or out the boot on anything because I don't believe in perfection. I think we're all flawed, but a B to me is really good. So just to clear that up before we keep going.
The second match of the night, right after that 6-man tag, was Robert Gray versus Iron Belly. Danger, start with you. Robert Gray versus Iron Belly.
I think it sucked.
To me, it felt like Robert Gray's character couldn't do nothing with Iron Belly. And it seemed like he had to spam moves over and over and over. And if I remember correctly, was this not the match that Vivian botched?
A little bit, yeah.
No, not a little bit. Look, hold up.
Yes.
We all botch, but we have to be willing to call it out. When a ref calls a match, decides to do to change the creative decision on a match, that's a major botch. Let's be fair.
Well, don't they say, count the 3?
But if you know the finish, and it wasn't supposed to be count, it was supposed to be a knockout.
I know, but I'm just saying.
If he didn't kick out, that's his fault.
Yeah.
But the thing was that the match was never. You know this.
No, I know.
The match was never called for anyone to be pinned. It was supposed to be boom. That's why they redid it again. I think there was. I could be wrong here, but I think there was a spot where he tried to punch him out, and I think the cue got messed up, and they tried to do it again, and then the ending changed out of either panicking, I'm not sure, and that's why I go back to this. When we're at the show, calm down, relax. We've been all doing this a while, and I'm not shitting on Vivian. Vivian's, in my opinion, she's a good referee. I love her. She commits her ass off to this. I'll give her flowers all day long. But if I'm talking about within the confines of the match, there was a major botch there. It was 2 things. One, the match should have been rehearsed a little better. My personal opinion, because I like both performers. I love Iron Belly and I love Robert Gray, but you could see the kinks in it, and it showed when I was watching it.
Next up, Associate versus Damien Sport. Danger?
Guess we'll give it a good match.
It was solid to me. I think it could have been a little better, but it was not horrible. Bobby generally puts on a really good match. I like his character work. His expressions are amazing. He has really good expression and emotion work when he plays this character. Probably one of the best. And again, you put him in there with someone like Damien who could sell his ass off. And it was a pretty decent match. I don't have any major complaints to say about that match. It was a solid match.
Next up, Drake Bishop versus Ethan Sorrow.
This was a no disqualification match, was it?
It ended up being a no disqualification match. I think how it became a no disqualification match.
Supposed to be that?
I think how it became a no disqualification match is questionable. I believe one of the other owners said they don't know how it became a no disqualification match. It just somehow someone erased something on a board and it became no disqualification. So yeah, basically something. Anyways, it was Drake Bishop, Ethan Sorrows, no DQ.
What do you think?
Don't remember it.
Me, like I said, both them wrestlers are pretty good wrestlers, and I personally look forward to seeing a good back and forth match between the two of them because I think they can put on one hell of a match. That goes for both of you, Ethan and Drake. Y'all can put on hell of a matches. I was kind of saddened that it was a no DQ because I think we could have got a really solid match out of that.
Yeah.
And because of that, it kind of got cheated. And so, I mean, it was an okay match. It saddens me to even say that because I think that if we ever see them two wrestle again and they could just have a solid back and forth, I think it would be a hell of a match.
Next up, we had We had Morbius and Hawkins. So they had cashed in. We don't really judge it because it was a cash in, not a match.
Yeah.
Morbius and Hawkins became tag champions. Alfredo, desperate for a partner, comes in with he finds a guy who missed out on his title shot the month before, makes him a tag partner, and we get Alfredo and Grizzly versus Morbius and Hawkins.
Now, is this where the betrayal happens?
This where it starts.
Yeah. So, okay, he does something questionable, but it ain't happened yet.
He might have hit him. He might hit him. I think he does betray him at the end. Very, 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 very end.
If I were, you have any thoughts on this match, Danger?
I thought it was just another tag team match.
For me, I thought there were some good moments in the match. Again, I think Morbius and Cody Hawkins can make a really good tag team. I think in hindsight, Grizzly doesn't do a lot of tag matches. And so he's gotten a lot better at them. I'll tell you that. I would give Grizzly his props. He has come a long way. He's amazing. I appreciate him as a wrestler. I love his character work. Alfredo's pretty good, but I think this is one of them things where they kind of got slapped together, and the slap togetherness showed in the match a little bit. But it wasn't a horrible match. In a long-winded way, I semi-agree with Danger. It was just a typical tag match with some good moments.
And then the main event was Tyson Sport versus Rick Wadley 2.
Probably nothing to remember by, considering that the first match was sort of okay, but I don't even remember this one.
This was the build-up to the rematch, right?
Yeah.
If I remember right, was there some interference or something that happened during this?
There
match?
was we did a duel. We had two refs.
That's right.
This match had two refs, where one person counted a pinfall and one person counted a submission.
It was a
draw. Yeah.
See, I wanted to make sure I got this right because, like I said, the first match they had, I enjoyed it. I think the second match, it was going pretty well, but I think the finish took me out of it. I didn't think they needed to do that. It's one of them examples where it was a cool, creative idea to do something different, but the way it manifested, if I remember right, some of the ones, I'm trying to remember, but I thought for a minute the two refs kind of looked like they went on the same page, but I can't remember if that was what happened. But I remember the finish just kind of seemed awkward the way that it was actually executed at the end.
How would you grade Golden Summer Bash?
Give it a D.
How many matches were on this card?
That was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There wasn't a match that was just super crappy. There were some decent matchups to be sure. I'll give it a B minus.
B minus. Gotcha. All right.
Because, I mean, there's been some events where we had some matches that were just really horrible. But, I mean, I'm not going to let one match dictate what the overall show is. If I'm going to give a show a bad rating, it's going to be because the majority of the show was bad.
Yeah.
Not because one match here, one match there. I mean, if you have 2 matches that are horrible, but you have like 4, 5, 6, 7 matches that did really well, that might take it down, but I'm not going to give it a D or an F over it.
Yeah. Next up, Sugar Crash. The opening match was Rimson versus Mox Mosley.
It was crap.
What was the worst part about it?
Trying to remember how many botches there were in that match.
For me, the match was okay for what it was. In hindsight, you had someone that's a mentor teaching a student in the background. And I think Mox did pretty decent. And I give you kudos for giving him the position to go out there and do it. I think Mox's character is pretty awesome. This dude is really freaking creative. If y'all get a chance,
And talented.
Check it. Dude, yes.
Making a lot of these guys interest music right now.
Dude. And hey, Mox, while you're listening to this, Fortune might need something someday. Holla at your boy. But yeah, I think he's getting better and better. I just think this is another example when you put somebody that's like a more top tier wrestler with someone that's still learning, and even if you don't mean to, it's like when someone's like at this level of a notch and someone's down at this notch, they inadvertently put a spotlight on the imperfections. And I think that's what keeps me from saying this is like a solid match. I wouldn't say it's a shitty match, but it was okay. It wasn't shitty, it wasn't spectacular, it was okay. And I applaud Mox, he did what he could do, and some of his moves look pretty cool. I won't lie, he did some pretty cool moves within there.
Match number 2, Jade Sawyer versus Superior Sullivan.
Not bad for a singles match for Jade Sawyer. I mean, she's learning, and she has the potential to be a big name in SWF down the line. I mean, if she practices a lot more, wrestles a lot more, she's going to be there.
For me, again, Superior Sullivan, I'm going to blur the lines. Bobby is an amazing seller. You could put him in there with anybody, just like Damien, and they'll sell their ass off. And I think Jade being new, I think the match was not great. I mean, obviously, I think Rimson and Mox was a better match. But I don't think it was horrible. And I think Jade, from what I've seen of her, she's gotten a little better each time. And that's a good thing, and props to you. And I still don't, maybe it's just me not really digging enough, but her gimmick. Is her gimmick kind of like a Mankind, kind of like in the woods type of supernatural, like she can tank some hits and just keep coming? Is that the vibe that we're getting from that? Because if it is, I can kind of see where it's going. But that's the vibe I got, if that's what we're going with.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a Force Maniac. I don't know.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of click noises. Talks like clicks. Like kind of like, I think it's kind of like the what we were saying earlier. The people in the I don't know.
Dude, I forgot the name of that movie, and I said it a while ago before
Yeah.
we even went live.
Like the Wrong Turn people. And
Wrong
stuff.
Turn. That's
Wrong
it.
Turn and.
But I mean, the match wasn't horrible.
Hills Have
It
Eyes.
was what it was.
But the clicking noises. She was telling me, we were sitting there and go, and I'm like, you talking? No, but I pretend to talk, but I'm clicking.
No, that's,
I click.
you know what? Honestly, I will say this. That's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Do it more though. Like in your match, do it a lot more.
Yeah, the clicking.
Yes, do it during like if you're mad, do a little bit of a click, almost like Groot, Just
Yeah.
do a little bit more where the fans can kind of get into what you're doing.
Yeah.
That would be the only critique I would have.
Match number 3, Aaron Rydell versus Colton Keith.
Classic.
Classic. We were popping backstage watching this.
I'm gonna tell you something. Hell of a match. I think I'm not gonna put my foot firm because I'm gonna wait till you get done naming all the matches. But that probably was my match. I remember I was so intrigued because again, Colton Keith did a damn good job. And Aaron Rydell, you're an amazing wrestler. I enjoy working with you and seeing you, and you just put on a really good match. And I think y'all both sold really well for each other. Y'all both had some really good spots, and it was just a really good back and forth. Which, I'm an old school guy, so yes, some gimmicky matches are pretty fun, but if you give me just a good, solid back and forth, I'm at peace, and that's what that was.
And the reason why I think this is a classic was because of the in-ring psychology, the wrestling stuff out there, how they work the crowd, etc. They managed to dumb it down enough to where people were interested. They come back for that match time and again, whether they watch it on YouTube or any other platform.
And it wasn't overly too long. It had its points, and then it finished.
Yeah, to me, that could be a contender for match of the year, but I know there are more matches coming up.
The next match I got to watch at the bar, and I don't know why, but live, I can't remember. I think I tried to rewatch it on the TV, and it wasn't as good on the TV. But for some reason, live, Mike Grizzly versus El Jefe was so good. I think Mike Grizzly versus El Jefe was so good. I think the promo leading up to it, El Jefe coming out, I don't give a damn about your birthday. That whole thing and like the
give me some props there.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about your birthday, little boy. And whoever he said that, I don't give a damn. I think Mike. I was sitting at the bar getting ready for the Sugar Crash entrance, and I really enjoyed that match at the bar. But Mike Grizzly versus El Jefe.
It was a very good match. My only concern was whether Ice was going to show up and start deporting that guy.
Oh my God, Ice!
I'm gonna say this, El Jefe, you're a really good talent. I love your promo capability. I got to see it firsthand when we promoted back and forth. I enjoyed it. I hope we get to work together again. The match was really good. I'm going to give my flowers to Grizzly on that match. He did a phenomenal job, and El Jefe, phenomenal job. The fans, it was like, to me, we just had Colton and Rydell, which was an amazing match. And then just when you thought maybe it'll go down, maybe go up, dude, we had another great solid match.
And what's good though is we kind of used that birthday thing was kind of like a little buffer because some people weren't into the birthday thing, but it was kind of like it buffered you a little bit, like and then another good match, little birthday buffer.
And what was really cool, and I can speak as promoing. El Jefe was really good when he promoed. I feel like I could promo that guy improv all day long.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like when he promoed, he fed me, and then I fed him back.
Yeah.
And it was really cool how he realized, hey, we need to quit because we need to get to the match, and it was awesome. And yeah, even if you took the birthday out of it, it was just a good match.
Yeah, yeah.
So props to both y'all.
Match number 5, the Sugar Crash ladder match. It ended with Remsen helping Associate get the Fago down and winning.
The match was okay, but the concept was crazy because somebody wanted me to do commentary in another part of the place, and I didn't know how it worked.
Wait, the Sugar Crash ladder match?
Yeah, well, see, this is what happened. I remember this very vividly. You wanted us to call the match from commentary, just me and him. But I think he thought it'd be better if someone was out there, so he went out there. I don't know if that's what you were thinking, but you had pitched to me that you wanted us to do it from the commentary table.
Yes. Of what?
The Sugar Crash.
The ladder match?
Yeah, refereeing the ladder match.
Oh! Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think it worked if I had to do commentary and refereeing at the same place.
Oh, okay.
When somebody has to watch the action to make sure none of the wrestlers were legit injured.
I mean, we found a way to make it work, but this is what I'll say. I kind of disagree with Danger here. yes, there was a few times that looked a little confusing, but I really thought it was a really cool infusion of storylines. You made it. This is what I'll say. I'll peek the curtain for everybody. I come up there, I think the night before, and cut a promo, or maybe a couple of nights before. I think me, you, and Gilmore were there, and we cut a promo.
Yeah.
What I did in that promo, and if anybody wants to go back and watch, and I'm not saying I did an awesome promo, I illustrated the fact I was trying to give you flowers in that promo. I did it on purpose because it was really cool how you infused all these storylines colliding into one event. Everybody had a legit reason to get that. It wasn't just to get the favor. It was because they were all trying to serve a purpose to their own unique storylines. And I thought it was cool how you intertwined it. And, of course, Grimson coming out at the last minute, screwing everybody. The way you played your theatrics in there. I think the only time that it got a little stagnant for just a small moment, but then it picked back up. It picked back up towards the end when y'all looked like y'all were about to win.
Yeah.
You know, because I think the story was y'all were paid by Danger, or like Danger was going to give y'all something.
Yeah.
Y'all kept Bobby from getting it.
Yeah.
Bobby made an arrangement with Grimson.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to get his Fago unbanned, and in return he would use it to give him his title shot.
Yeah.
So I thought that it was really intermixed, really cool. So I think the idea and the way you tried to wrap the storylines was very creative. I think the match in the middle got stagnant, but it served its purpose. Of course, everybody loved the idea of me drinking Fago at the end. Even though I poured it back on Babin, which was me sealing the storyline. You know, from the beginning I got splashed. At the end we had to have him get splashed a little bit. So I think it was a solid match. And some of the matches, you know this, writing it, some of the matches can be chaotic and sometimes they just fall apart. But I think that match kind of stayed intact most of the time.
The next match was TKO making his debut against Ronnie Havoc.
Trash.
Oh, God.
I'm not trying to shit on you or Tyson here because I don't know whose idea this was. I never thought it was a great idea to put two new guys in the ring at the same time live until they get a little more. I think TKO has a lot of potential. Shout out to you, man. And I love your branding and all that. You're pretty awesome. I got to get back with you on that wallet. But I just think this is one of the examples where they kind of got lost in the weeds a few times within the match, and there was nobody there to bail them out. And you had one guy that was so center focused on doing certain moves, and the other guy just trying to find his way within the match. And they wasn't really prepped enough. Like, there was not enough vocalization from TKO, and again, that's something you got to work on. We need to get the fan, because I think as a heel, you got to get the fans behind the face. And that's something where it looked like both of them were put in a position where they couldn't quite do it. But for all that set aside, I give them at least a little better than E for effort, because at least they got the match home.
That match sold us 20 tickets.
And
that match got us 5 new wrestlers.
Well,
that match. I thought it was a terrible match, but good business decision.
My thing is this. I'm gonna always be honest if someone asks me a question.
No, I know.
Smoke up their ass.
But I'm
be biased towards them because I want them to get better. That's my whole purpose. You can't get better if everybody's telling you you're good when there's things you need to work on.
No, yeah.
There's things I need to work on. I'm still learning as a commentator.
I was giving reference of why we thought it was a good idea. I'm like, it business wise, it actually did really good for us.
No.
I mean, that match. Without that match, we don't have Aiden Chaos and all these guys.
I'm gonna tell you right now, Ronnie, for everything that we say about him, I love his spirit. I love his heart. I love his commitment. The dude shows up all the time. He is very committed to this, and TKO is too. So this is not me shitting on them.
And it was supposed to be someone else, and they practice. They went over this match every practice from when was that debut match? May or something? When did Havoc debut?
I just think in hindsight, TKO probably needed to be a veteran for his first match to kind of get his nerves settled.
Yeah.
And then if you'd have put him in that match the next show or something, we might be talking a little different about how the match turned out.
Then match number 7 was Legendary versus Family Affiliated. Danger.
Was this a traditional tag team?
It ended up being 8-man tornado tag. It was supposed to be a traditional. I thought it. Well,
Did
I was not involved, so I'm not quite
You
sure.
know, this is the one you got mad at.
It
Where the two were left in the ring, not knowing what to do,
The
in
8-man
the brawl.
tag.
That was the moment that I was about ready to walk out of the building. That killed the quality of the show.
Okay, I'm going to say some things about this, and I don't want people to take it the wrong way. And it's not because I think I know everything. I don't. I'm still learning. I'm learning. I'm trying to learn from everybody. I'm trying to learn from you. Trying to learn from, Adam Tom played. I'm trying to learn from all the more seasoned wrestlers. I'm just trying to be a sponge. But I will say this: that match had a potential to be a really great match, and I don't know what happened in the booking. I didn't get privy to that information, but I'll say this. Had it been me, and you said, hey, how would you book this match? I would have made it a 6-man tag with all the belts at stake, and I would have had the 2 valets on the outside, where A, they were protected, and B, the fans could understand what was going on. Because at some parts in that match, I can say this as a commentator, and I'm not saying, and people could say, well, you're just still a green commentator. No, there was too much crap happening in too many sides of that ring for not only me as a commentator to tell a story, other than it's pandemonium, but it's also for the fans that doesn't get any stakes involved. To me, it should have been like this. They should have brawled at first. They should have led each other back to the corners, had some good variety where we got to see Ethan versus maybe Ethan versus Damien, or maybe Ghoul versus Gluttony, or maybe Ricka versus Tyson, or Ricka versus other people. And I think we should have gave Vivian some cool spots of Hill where she maybe tripped one of them and got away with it. And then I think it should have broke down into another brawl, which would have led finally to our 2 main characters showing back up in the ring with Tyson and Ricka. And we could have seen Vivian try one more and then giving Amber her shine by stopping her, leading to the good guys winning. I think that would have been, I know that sounds pedantic, I know that sounds kind of stereotypical, but I think running the match that way would have been successful. I got took out of that match because it was just, to me, it's like this. Y'all built this storyline up. Y'all even made me excited about it. Seeing Legendary over here versus the Family Affiliate. And I love the Family Affiliate. I do. They're awesome talent, awesomeness. I love their gimmick. But give me some stakes. If all this was bleeding into the fact that I'm going to watch Legendary get the shit beat out of him for 20 minutes, then what was the point? I never felt for a moment in that match that Legendary had an effing shot at winning that match. Because what really took me out of it, and I'm not hating, you left 2 people in the ring while y'all were all on the outside that just kind of froze. And you don't take my word for it, go watch it. They froze. And they didn't know what to do. So all I knew to do as a commentator was just commentate outside to take the shine off. But what took me out of it is when Amber literally about took out 2 Legendary members. And I'm like, okay, Amber should have just come out and wiped the floor with them, and they should have pinned and called it a day. So to me, great talent. I like all the wrestlers that were involved. I just think whatever, I wasn't privy to the booking. I don't know what happened and didn't happen, but I think it just become an amalgamation. Now people said, oh, that was an awesome match. Yeah, there were some awesome moments. I won't hate there. There was some awesome moments. There was some awesome selling. There were some awesome moments. But it was like a cluster that I couldn't wrap my brain in from a story point of view. If you want the fans that's never seen wrestling, you have to provide nuance.
Yeah.
And you, Adam, honestly, could you provide a lot of nuance in that match? If I'm a plain Jane human being that's never seen this show, could I grasp what the hell was going on in that show?
Teens that like Call of Duty like that match.
Yeah, but they're not. Okay, are you trying? That's the point. Are we creating a match where people will go, yeah, that was awesome, but then 2 weeks later I don't remember it?
No, you're right. Yeah.
Are we creating something where they're going to keep coming back because they want to see what happens next?
No, I understand. But that was the finale of that, so there's nothing next.
And it's sad because they had a big build-up.
That was the finale.
It was almost like the Sting Hogan thing. We seen Sting and Hogan go through all this mess, and then finally we get to the match and it was botched. But I'm not, and I know people will take it like I'm shitting on them for it. I'm not. I just think this is a part where the booking killed the match more than anything. The performers are great. I love their performers. I love everybody there. Amber's a phenomenal ref. the wrestlers are all great. Vivian's great. It's just one of the things where they're booked. The whatever the match was, it failed. The way they told the match failed them, not them. If that makes sense.
Sugar Crash. A lot of emotions on this one. Rims and Mox, Jade Superior, Aaron Rydell Colton, Mike Grizzly El Jefe, Sugar Crash ladder match, TKO Havoc, Legendary Family. How do you rate this? How do you grade this show? Danger?
Because of the main event, I'm giving it an F. Screw that event.
Oh my God. Danger with an F.
My problem is this show provided a bunch of ups and downs. And some of this show's problems, again, didn't stem from the performers. It stemmed from the way the booking happened. And I'm not hating on the bookers, but I'm talking about the way the matches were set up in some of the cases. I would say I would give this match a C+.
The show a C+.
Yeah.
C+.
Which means if I think the show sucks, you're getting an F.
Yeah.
If I think the show had a little more horrible than good, I'm giving it a D. So if I'm giving you a C or above, I don't think this show was shit. I don't think it was even like horrible. I just think there was elements that kind of brought it down a little bit.
Yeah.
But the way that ending, the way the ending was booked, this big finale, that's the problem. It had the opportunity to be this amazing finish, and I was really hooked on that. I was really hooked on that storyline.
Next up, Easy Marks. We have the time. This is labeled as one match. So we have the Time Trap Tag Tournament. We had any thoughts on the Time Trap Tag Tournament? Sucked. Grizzly versus Alfredo.
Well, I also wanted to give my thoughts.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Awesome idea and concept. I don't think it was completely initiated very well. Yeah. I think we should have all come together a little more. I think there should have been a little more coordination to make it better. But the idea was pretty cool. But go ahead.
Grizzly versus Alfredo.
This is where Grizzly got fed up.
He took a little break.
Yeah.
This was like his break match.
Yeah. The match was okay, but it was confusing.
Yeah.
And I think Grizzly having a bad attitude made the thing worse.
Well, that's true, maybe. But this is my problem. I still never got as a story why they were repaired in the first place. You've got a near heel tag team guy with one of the bigger baby faces just randomly working together. If we were going to go that route, then we should have did the odd couple the entire time. Mm-hmm. You have Grizzly trying to talk. You have Grizzly trying to talk Alfredo from being dirty, and you have Alfredo talking Grizzly to kind of blur the lines.
Yeah.
We didn't get that. We got they're paired. We don't really know why for sure that they're paired, and randomly now they're breaking up. So to me, that is what took me out of it.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, well, you're paired with him now. Why would you then randomly? And I'm talking story. I'm not talking about anything outside of the story or what happened behind the scenes. I'm talking it just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on that.
Then we had Damien Sport versus Ronnie Havoc.
But I want to also say one more thing. They're both good performers, and if we would have put them in a normal match without all this weird wonky storyline, it would probably be a good match.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sport versus Havoc.
I think Havoc ruined the match.
Oh my God. Okay.
I think Havoc did better in this match than he did the previous one. It looked like his nerves kind of settled a little more, and it showed. Look, Ronnie has a good voice. I think in time, his promo capability will come up there. I think he's further ahead in the promo department than maybe some of them because he's willing to talk.
Yeah.
He's willing to engage the audience, and I think some of them are nervous. Or they may be more focused on getting the moves down and not focusing on the characterizations with it. You got to play a song and dance there. And then Sport, he sells his ass off. I mean, I can't really say anything bad. I think the match was not spectacular. It wasn't great, but it wasn't shit. It was a little better.
And then one of the most controversial matches we've ever done. It got us a lot of flack online, allegedly.
Uh-oh.
And someone tried to get us canceled from the Beaumont Comic-Con because of this match. Stevan Rimson, Ring Bully Rimson versus Rick Wildley for the World Championship.
It was awful.
Wait a minute. I would like to peel the veil a little bit. Why did I don't remember? Besides the ending being a little weird, and I'll give my thoughts of the match. Why did that match cause us not to almost get booked at Comic-Con? You would think the whole match with Jamarcus would have been the one that did that. So I'm just curious how.
No, the people were calling in on it. They said they were sparking riots and.
Who rioted over that?
The people, some online guy, dude. Some guy that hated the.
Okay, I'm not worried about the online guy. Screw him. You know what? You can have your opinions, whatever. Do you, boo? Peel the curtain back for the people listening to this. What was the angle you were trying to create in this match? Because you could peel it better than me. Wasn't you supposed to be doing some sort of kayfabe? Someone went off script. Can you pull that back and let us know what the angle?
All right, so
I want to hear what you were planning on doing, and then I want you to talk to me about what actually happened. Then I'll give you my thoughts.
Rick Wildley went on a podcast, and the guy said they were talking about him being the SWF World Heavyweight Champion or whatever, and the guy goes, "You're not a heavyweight," and he goes, "Yeah, it doesn't really make sense." Rick said it doesn't really make sense, but ever since the days of Rey Mysterio winning the World Heavyweight Champion, lighter guys can win the Heavyweight Championship now.
Yeah, we've seen that.
You know, so he said that, but then I started thinking, but that podcast, to me on that podcast, made me start thinking, I go, what if like, that is true, like, these are just tiny dudes, like what if like a dude,
Monster.
What if a dude just said, I'm not losing? You know what I mean? And then that started going back to like, Paul Heyman. That started making me think about Paul Heyman with the Brock Lesnar thing of like, maybe Brock Lesnar wanted to beat the streak. And maybe he wanted to beat Undertaker's streak. And so I was all like, man, what if we did a thing where Rimson just said, look at all these tiny people in this organization. I'm the threat. I can literally I can just be champion. If I want to be champion, I'm gonna be champion. And he knocks out Rick Wildley and takes the belt and wins and is champion.
So the storyline, the idea was that he goes against the script, kayfabe like in a weird way.
Yeah, and that's why we had Jamarcus filming in the backstage, and before the show he filmed like because he was doing like a behind. It was the same time. It meshed well because it was the same time as WWE's Unreal, and so we had him film the board, and on the board when we went and circled all the names that were winning that night, and we circled Rick Wildley's name on that board to make sure to capture that Rick Wildley circled the win.
Yeah.
That and then we told, hey, look, we had a private chat with Rimson and Ricka. And we're like, hey, the cameras are going to keep rolling. And so when they're going to keep rolling, the camera's going to follow you back there, keep rolling, and we're going to have a confrontation with Rimson and this big blowout. And I don't know. I guess not everybody was made aware then, other than, they're not supposed to. They're supposed to think it's real.
Exactly. Well, I want to make this clear before I get started because I want to talk about that before I actually talk about the match because I have a little bit of a thing I want to go on about the match, but I'm going to go on this first. I noticed that it caused a bit of like craziness. That's why I want to bring it up, and I want to bring this up for the record also. There's people out there that think I was somehow involved in a lot of these creative decisions in these matches.
Yeah.
I want to make this for the record, and I want you to be like honest. I personally, besides you talking to me as a friend, throwing stuff off my head, for the most part, I have not been involved in the major creative decisions for quite some time by this point.
Right.
Besides if it's Rich Fortune, of course.
Yeah.
Specifically. That's another reason why I wanted to ask you because I didn't know how this. I didn't know how this was booked. So I wanted you to tell the audience and me what the idea was because I had bits and pieces. What did you think about that concept of doing a match like that?
It was weird.
You think it's weird if somebody shoots and knocks out? It's just a big guy knocks out the tiny dude and takes the belt.
I didn't even know what I was supposed to follow in that match.
Okay.
Which maybe you did your job too well. But as far as the match is concerned, for a booker, I want to get your opinion on this. I've had the pleasure of now helping book a wrestling show for a little while. I'm still learning. I'm not as experienced as you. I'm still learning and everything. Was it not a bit of a challenge to book this match? Because in hindsight, when you have someone like Remsen and you have someone like Ricka, both phenomenal talents, would it have not been easier? And I know you couldn't change this because they've already got their gimmicks going in motion. You can't just flip the switch on this. But to me, I thought it was a challenge to book in the first place because to me, it would have been so much easier if, let's say, Remsen was the face, the family was the heel, and then you would have had the family come out there and try to help Ricka get over. But then you had this point in contention where you had the two guys in the ring. There was a massive size difference, and it created. And I'm not saying Ricka couldn't have won credibly. That could have very well happened. They could have booked it that way. Ricka's speed could have helped him win the match. But didn't it create kind of like a dichotomy of how y'all wanted to go with it? I mean, was you really at that point really wanting to take the belt off Ricka at that point, or did other things kind of cause you to move in that direction?
No, it was when you have an idea,
you just run with it.
You got.
So it's like almost like there was no feeling involved. It's just you seen that.
Well,
you seen that podcast. And
okay, so we originally had Remsen winning the Satsuma, and he was going to feud with Athan.
Okay.
But then, when there was kind of like this effect, there was an effect that started spiraling whenever we switched. I don't think Ricka was supposed to have any belt. I think Ricka was going to go on to win the VIP.
Okay.
So, but then when we found out that Grizzly was going to be sick for May, and we needed to take, we wanted somebody to take the belt off Tyson as soon as possible, and I was like, well, we'll just have Rick do it, and then we just kind of switched. Remsen was supposed to get a belt, but Athan it was easier to take it off of Ricka than it was Athan, and I liked it. I started liking it better because the Ricka podcast mentioning the heavyweight championship.
So it's more like you hit that and it gave you an epiphany and an idea, and you wanted to just go with it and make a new creative idea just to kind of change things up a bit, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, in hindsight, I think you had a problem there. You had too many people that looked like they were credible to go ahead and get that belt off Tyson, because you had Grizzly's storyline that unfortunately didn't get to pan out. And then you had the family affiliate, starting to feud with the Legendary, so it just probably made logical sense to then let Ricky go ahead and take it.
Because he had already been feuding with them. Because because ideally Grizzly would have taken it off Tyson, and the Legendary family feud were not going to involve the belts. Like the belts were going to be taken off, and they were just going to have a feud separate of it having to do with the championship belts.
Yes.
And they were like, we'll just make it a part of the championship belts. Basically, we're trying to separate the stories. Have the story and the belts. It's two separate things. But then when that happened, we're like, we'll just merge it. Just merge it. It's fine.
Yeah. The match itself, I will also say this, and it kind of sounds weird that I'm saying this. I get the knockout angle to some degree, but the fan in me would have rather seen them fight their butts off and Ricka just giving everything he had and just coming up short.
Yeah.
I get what you were doing for the creativeness behind it, and so it had to be kind of like that, like a shock and awe. He just knocks him flat out. But Ricka's character, to me, which he kind of borderline skimmed the heel to face.
And this is my bad too, kind of. It is my bad, but like I think that my original pitch was it coming off as someone like a potato, like someone like punch him, like it coming off like he really punched him, like he got rocked, and then he hits his finisher and he pinned him, and then it's all like Ricka couldn't kick out because he just got rocked. Yeah. Like it wasn't like a knockout finish. It was been more. It was going to be a little bit even more realistic. Like he literally got his head rocked, and then just couldn't kick. Like got pinned and just forgot to kick out because he was got buzzed.
Yeah.
But they did make it. They did make it a little bit more theatrical than I wanted. I wanted it to be a lot more realistic, but they did turn it to more theatrical with the knockout finish.
Yeah.
So they did keep it kind of like in the realm of entertainment, where I wanted it to be even more controversial. Where, like, I wanted it to be more controversial.
Well, the only way, to me, the only way to make it more controversial, and this would have been a cool way to involve the family. Well, maybe Rimson went off his mind and starts just belligerently punching Ricka to a point to where the ref's trying to stop the match and can't, and he doesn't get a chance to. And you could have had the family try to come in because they're actually concerned for Ricka's well-being. And you could have had some drama there because he just looks so scary. And you finally get Ethan out there. It looks like he's big enough to handle him. It's just still not enough.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, that's what I wanted to know because I never really knew the way y'all completely pitched that match. I just think I got, as a fan, I just wish we'd had another one of the things where I guess I'm just an old fogey. I would have loved to see a good back and forth with a little bit of heart before it come to that.
Easy marks. What do you grade it?
Say D.
D for Danger.
2. For me, another up and down. You had some really good matchups in mind. I think when you hear Ricka, because he's a good wrestler, and you hear Rimson together on a match, you think, oh my gosh, it's going to be a great match. And it wasn't a horrible match. I just think the ending kind of fell flat for me. That's my personal opinion. I would have loved to see his character, because his character's kind of like almost, I don't know if he like tries to lean into the supernatural with his character a little bit, but I thought like if he did, then it would have made sense that he could have kept up a little bit more than he did in the match, character-wise, of course, not talent as a wrestler.
Yeah.
Ricka's a good wrestler, and Rimson's a good wrestler. I got a little let down on the finish, because that's what I wanted to see. Now, that's just me wanting to see that. So I give it a B. I don't think it was horrible. I don't think the whole show was horrible. I think there were spots that could have been a lot better. I just think there were certain spots that also kind of drug it down a little bit.
Yeah. Here we are, guys. We're making it to the final. Well, it's 1, 2, 3. It's five shows. 1, 2, 4 events.
We're good.
Final 5, guys, and then we'll go. And then we'll make our final picks because this is a big man. We used to do this every month, and now we're kind of just doing it at this one big solid year review. So
no, we're doing good. I like it.
Island of Heroes Saturday. Island of Heroes Saturday. We opened up with the New Guy Battle Royal. Danger, New Guy Battle Royal at Island of Heroes Saturday.
I don't remember it.
Damn it.
It was okay for what it was. I think TKO looked a little better in that match. He looked like he calmed down a little bit. I think Ronnie Havoc looked a little better. I thought we did a pretty cool little heart moment where I finally accepted him and hugged him. I thought that was pretty cool. And again, I appreciate Ronnie's energy. I thought Redbeard looked a little better in that match for what it was.
I mean, that's a debut.
Yeah. And
debut for him, debut for Sean Morgan for us, debut for Aiden Chaos for us, debut for Remington.
Yeah. Well, my problem was, I think it was smart booking on your part by giving a lot of these guys that hadn't wrestled the match just kind of hidden into the big chaos of it all, right? So I mean, to me, it wasn't horrible. I think there were some times where it kind of looked like it was going on too long. If I remember right, I think there was a spot in that match where it seemed like they almost forgot what they were supposed to be doing. But overall, the fans were really involved in the show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you my bias. I think day 1 was better than day 2, but we're gonna finish this.
Yeah.
It was okay for what it was. That's all I can say. I'm not gonna shit on new people like that. I could be and just start pickpacking. I'm not going to do that. I think I give them props for getting the guts to go out there in front of all them people and performing. And a lot of them since that show have gotten better, and props to them. But it was meh to me.
The second match we had just a showcase from outside town from Oklahoma. Andrew Bridge versus Diablo Vega. You might remember the Canadian Destroyer in that match. But I don't know.
I remember that match. I'll let Danger go first.
Danger, go for it.
It was all right.
I will say this. I have seen Andrew Bridge wrestle now a couple of times at actually a couple of different companies. Dude is like amazing as far as like what he does in the ring, his athleticism, his ability to hit high flying moves and make them look believe. His selling is decent. I would love to see him again. However, and I liked all the people in the match. I thought all the competitors in that match did awesome. Here was my problem. Their storyline didn't make no sense to me. It just didn't. We had these people hating on each other, then randomly liking each other. At the end, it was a whiplash effect.
Wait, what did they do?
Well, at one point in time, they were all fighting each other, and then all of a sudden, at the end, like two of them were like together. And
No. That you're thinking of day 2.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
You're not talking about the triple threat, are you?
No, I just said.
Not bad.
Andrew Bridge versus Diablo Vega is the singles.
No, you're
day
right.
one.
No, you're right. I'm sorry, old man mistake. I had a gaffe only in my head, a brain fart. No, that match was pretty good.
Yeah.
That match was pretty good. Actually, there were some really cool spots in that match, and I probably got confused because Andrew Bridge is in both of them.
Yeah.
But no, that match there was actually pretty good. It was high tempo. There wasn't a lot of storytelling, if I remember right in that match. But as far as moves, it was really good. But it was one of them things where we needed a little more storytelling in the ring. But as far as like shock and awe, flips, and all that, it was a really good match. And yeah, the Destroyer was really good. I remember that spot.
Then we did the Mountain versus Jack Strong. Danger, Mountain versus Jack Strong.
It was a good match. It wasn't spectacular or anything.
This is going to be the one time where I'm opposite from Danger. I don't think it was a great match. I think that Jax looked like he tried to do some things in that match that didn't work. Like he couldn't fully pull off, and it showed. The fans, of course, was cheering this, and I know a lot of people get caught up in the fans, but some of the fans are not paying to the nuance. But if they're wrestling fans, they're paying attention. And a few of them spots in that match, I think, got botched. And it was enough to take me out. Now, on paper, that seemed like a good match. But some of the things in that match, I remember, took me out of it.
Yeah.
There was a couple of spots in that match where it was botched. Like the moves. Because Mountain, he's a good seller. He's a good wrestler, good talent. I love you, dude. I can't wait to see you again. And Jack Strong, he's got a good heart. But I think certain times in the match, it just took me out because it was like he tried to do a move that didn't look like it could get done, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like biting off more than you can chew.
Mountain versus Jack. But you know what? Mountain, man, what a presence at Comic-Con. Giant man walking through the damn...
Dude, yes.
I just say...
And I mean, Jack Strong had a great presence.
Yeah.
I'm not shitting on Jack Strong.
No, yeah.
I just don't think this is one of his better performances, to be fair.
Yeah. Next up, we had Damian Sport versus Robert Gray.
I'd say it was a better match than some of their past matches.
Yeah, one of their better matches.
This, to me, was probably the first match where it looked like Robert Gray was turning the corner.
Yeah.
He did solid in this match. I think Sport did solid in this match. It was better than the match before, what it shouldn't have been. I'm not hating, but you hear the Mountain, you hear Jack Strong, and that's not to hate on Robert Gray and Damian Sport, but I would have thought there would have been a lot more to the Mountain and Jack Strong. And there was some cool spots. I'm not hating on the match. It's just the spots that took me out, there wasn't them blemishes in this match. So it was pretty decent, yeah.
Next up, we had Colton Keith versus the Psycho with referee Ming Chen.
Match. Another contender for match of the year.
Damn.
It was a good match. I'm not gonna say I disagree with him for
I get it.
because I've seen y'all put on better matches.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I almost think like I don't know why this is why I think this, and maybe I'm wrong. You can correct me because you were in the match. Weirdly enough, y'all have good chemistry when y'all fight each other, but I almost think like y'all's first couple of matches were like crazy good. This match wasn't horrible, but Ming Chen did a decent job. I don't have any super big negatives. I just think that some of y'all's matches have been so good that this match wasn't quite where some of the other ones were, but it wasn't horrible.
Yeah. Tyson Maddox versus Ring Bully Remsen. Danger.
It was good for what it was, because Tyson Maddox is a very experienced wrestler, and he's been around the block a whole lot. And it carried well with the Ring Bully, but I think the match helps elevate Ring Bully to a certain extent.
I think it was an amazing match. My thing on that match was, if I'm remembering right, the match kind of slowed down a little bit for a moment. And when it did, the pace kind of dropped, but then it picked back up. I would say, to me, and I'm not saying this because of the two performers in the ring, but to me, that was match of the night. It was a big showcase match. It lived up to it. You actually got to see someone that was as big as the Ring Bully go at it.
Yeah.
And they did some pretty cool moves. I think there was a spot maybe that I remember that could have been done a little better. But to me, I liked it. I thought it was an awesome match. It's definitely going to go into my consideration down the road as we talk about the match of the year. It was a good match to me. It really was.
So,
props to you, Maddox. You're amazing.
how would you grade day one of Island of Heroes?
Go ahead. You go ahead, man.
I'm just going to give it a C, down the middle.
Gotcha.
To me, if we're talking about success as a whole, it was amazing. I think the fans come out and really supported it. We actually got more fan support and more hype in this show than the second one. And I would argue, when the time we get done, I don't know if that, but to me, if I remember right, I think some of the matches in the second were better. And the reason why I say that's because of this. It's one of the things where you have a couple of really good matches, but then you have a match that's kind of laced with people being new and stuff, and it's kind of like a tit for tat. So I would say a B.
B. Gotcha. Day two.
Because I think your match with Colton was pretty good. I think Tyson and Ripson's was pretty good. And I think some other matches were solid. But I think a couple of the botches in that one match, and I think the new guys in the beginning trying to do what they can kind of brought that down. So that's why I give it a B and I balance it. But if we're talking about buzz for the company and success as far as the impression we put on our fans, it was really good.
Yeah. Island of Heroes Sunday. Robert Gray versus Warhammer.
It was an okay match.
To me, while the match itself had bits and pieces, it was awesome theatrically. I found myself entertaining. Everybody was laughing their butts off at the skits they were doing between Remsen and Gray and Warhammer.
Yeah.
Especially that part where, I think they'll remember this, it was hilarious, where Remsen went over to the corner and was like telling Warhammer to tap. That was hilarious. I think they had some really cool theatrics to it, and I think it was a decent match. Now, there was a couple of spots in that match that looked like it was like, maybe it wasn't supposed to go down like it was supposed to, but I applaud Warhammer. He sold really well for Gray. I applaud Gray for doing what he did, and I applaud Remsen for providing a coat of paint on that match to make it better than it would have been, and I applaud the ref for that match as well. So I think it was pretty solid, pretty good opener. Definitely a good opener for theatrics and for what it was.
Match two.
Oh, shit. If I'm remembering what you're about to say.
Tyson Sport versus Vegas.
I've got a lot to say about this, but I'm going to leave it to him because I'm sure he's got a lot to say too.
I'm just going to concentrate on the match itself and not the incident.
No, go for it all.
No. The match itself was bad, and it's hard to blame Tyson Sport for it because he got stiffed several times in that match, and it really took him out of his element. And the finish was just awful, but that's the match, the match was just bad.
Hold on a second. Having nerve pain, you gotta stand up sometimes.
I got you.
Okay. This is my thing. We had a good match, if I'm not mistaken, at a Halloween bash, for the most part, against these two. Didn't Colton Keith and Tyson Sport with Johnny Powers as Colton Keith's manager where he gets screwed. I'm not mistaken. That happened a long time ago, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when I watched that match, they had good chemistry. This match, where you had all these different elements happening, where you had Vegas come in, you had Colton come in. Colton, they were trying to tell this sentimental story where he grew up, which I think it's true.
Yeah.
It's true, right? It was a nice idea, but again, I don't think it was really implemented very well. It seemed kind of confusing at times because it was like, well, if he's beating the crap out of his hero, wouldn't he go back in the ring and fight him and say, you know what, I'm tired of you picking on somebody that's no longer in the business, pick on me. I thought there was elements to the match that was really good, but there was also elements to the match that was really confusing. And then we had the incident, which I will talk about. Had I known for a moment that Vegas was going to come out there and really attack Danger, I'd have prevented it. Because that's not cool. The thing is that I get it. As being a bystander, I can talk about this because I can be a non-biased guy. So for me, the whole entire time, I thought it was a skit they worked out. I had no idea. Because the idea was, he kept on saying that. He kept on saying, ball-headed Vegas, ball-headed Vegas, ball-headed Vegas. And he kept looking at him. I'm like,
You bastard.
At first, I thought, okay, maybe they worked something out and he's going to come out and attack him. And that's what it looked like to me. That literally is what it looked like to me. I'm like, oh, crap, they come up with a spot, you know? So I seen that happen. And I mean, I've worked with Ali enough to know his facial expressions. So it didn't dawn on me. And you can ask him. He's sitting there getting himself back up, and I look at him, and I'm like, that was a pretty cool spot. And dude, when I see his look in his face when he looked at me, I was like, oh shit, that wasn't a spot. He's like, who wasn't a spot? I'm like, oh
God.
shit, you know? It's like, oh my gosh. It shocked me. Because I mean, it was one of the things where I could look back and go, it was 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah.
So for example, maybe Danger should have took the cues from some of the looks that he was giving, but at the same time, he shouldn't have went out and did what he did. But I mean, I know the business, go give receipts, but at the end of the day, I don't think you should always go by that. As far as like the in-ring ability of everybody involved, I thought Vegas had some good moments. I thought he did his characterizations pretty decent. I thought Tyson is a good character worker no matter what you say. And I thought Colton's a good wrestler, and of course Damien sells really well. I think this was just one of them things where I think if they would have had a little extra time to plan this out, because I think this was kind of an improv thing that wasn't something else supposed to happen and it got changed.
Yeah, it was going to be a different match and a tragedy occurred.
And that's why I say I think that's what probably. I think if they would have had a little extra time to plan this out, it would have been a phenomenal angle. But I think because they didn't, it kind of felt there were certain spots that fell flat. But I got what they were going for.
Yeah.
Okay.
You kind of already commented on this match accidentally. Third match was Andrew Bridge versus Vega versus Hector.
Oh, I didn't get to finish commenting on this, but go ahead.
but you did comment on the triple threat. Danger, thoughts on the triple threat version of this match where they added Hector?
Well, I think it was just another triple threat, nothing special.
Okay.
Hector was a phenomenal talent. I think everybody in there was a phenomenal talent. I think the problem was it felt like in that match they were doing moves just to do moves to wow the fans. The match itself, to me, besides some interactions with the manager on the outside, didn't have a lot of cohesion story. Like what was their moves leading to?
Yeah.
It was just, we're gonna do this flip here, we're gonna jump outside here. Okay, that's cool. I like that stuff, but there was nothing really to sink my teeth in. And I think the ending was kind of confusing to me because I thought we randomly had these people hating on each other. Now they randomly paired to fight this guy over here that seemed to be a guy that was like one way or the other. So it kind of took me out of the match. Yeah. But I do think they're really talented. And I think the manager was really good on the promo. I think he could talk. And I also think the big guy is Hector, right? I think he did some pretty cool moves, and I thought he was awesome looking, and I would love to see him again.
Yeah, I think what happened was Vega was supposed to go back to Oklahoma and wasn't supposed to be there. And it was going to be Andrew Bridge versus Hector. Because it was supposed to be Andrew Bridge versus Diablo day 1, then Andrew Bridge versus Hector day 2.
Okay.
Well, they ended up bringing Vega anyways, and we're like, we'll just do a triple threat. We'll do two triple threats. Because the following match was another triple threat, Hitman Open Challenge, EBW, Hitman versus Bruisador versus Red Davis.
Bruisador was one of the best parts of the match.
Again, that to me was a little bit better structured. Triple threat was. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but that was probably already pre-planned, right?
What?
That triple threat.
That Triple H was playing.
Okay, because it felt that way.
Okay.
It felt like there was a little more. That's why I'm hating on the first one. I'm not hating on it because they didn't do a good job on their moves and things like that. I just think I could tell it wasn't planned, and it was obvious. This match felt like it was a little more planned. I enjoyed this triple threat a little more. Again, Hitman, shout out to you. You always put on a good performance. You're a good promoer guy. I love it. I loved when me and you kind of jarred back during the Powers Fortune angle. Shout out to you. And I shout out to the other two contestants. I think that was one of the first times I've seen some of them. And y'all did really good. And I enjoyed the triple threat better. I think that was the better triple threat.
Next up, I'm gonna shit on this match a little bit because I actually don't like the match. I thought we had a really cool moment. I got to experience a really cool moment, and I got to enjoy something backstage with I got this a cool moment personally backstage with staring at a man who I've seen on TV going over the spots and stuff. I think that particular finish was good. I like the intro that L House did that we did. Camera wise, our entrance, we didn't have a bar to come from, but we came from the snack bar with beer still. L House Tragedy versus essentially Superior Sullivan with a guest appearance from Hornswoggle.
That was Hornswoggle in there? I didn't recognize him.
Okay.
Again, the match was okay. Ken looked a little off in certain spots, but he wasn't super horrible. But the build-up to Hornswoggle coming in, I think it could have been a little more built to it.
Yeah.
And I hated that we couldn't say his name fully. Sorry about that, Hornswoggle, because you didn't want to get the, probably for online purposes or whatnot. So I was told to say.
Well, yeah, but then turns out on the drive there, I should have. That's another thing. His plane was late. I was tripping. We were late. I was late to the building. I got there, and we're 2 matches down or something, or 2.5 matches down. I'm like, where am I? Oh God, what am I doing?
Well, in my personal opinion, he should have come out with him.
Yeah.
This is my personal opinion, and I'm wrong. I'd be wrong. This is my taste. I think y'all should have come out first, or Sullivan should have come out, and y'all should have made a joke about him not having a tag team partner. And then I think Hornswoggle should have been introduced and come out. And I think y'all should have had a tag, gave Hornswoggle some spots, maybe beat him down for a while, and have a rally finish. Yeah. I think that would have been a little better than him getting the crap beat out of him most of the night, where I'm like, okay, they should go ahead. Because there was one part of that match where I felt like, why don't y'all just finish him? Y'all could have easily done it.
Yeah.
And instead, it was almost like it drug out too much for him to then come in. And then y'all had to sell y'all's butts off to make us even believe that he could come in and take y'all out.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what drew me out of the match.
Yeah, no, I know. No, I'm completely with that. Match wasn't good, but it will always be a big thing for me, even though the match was terrible.
Well, one thing I will say about you, and this is not because we're friends, but you are always good at theatrics, and even when you're in a bad match, you still make it enjoy for the audience because you can always pull it out with some good theatrics. So.
And then we ended it with Victor Morbius versus TKO.
I have my thoughts on that.
Victor Morbius versus TKO, night 2 of Island of Heroes.
It was a decent match because of Victor Morbius, but I think TKO, he wasn't ready for Morbius as of yet.
This is my problem in this match, and I'll talk about the storytelling at the end because I think that's what hurt it the most. I get what they were trying to go for, but it made no sense. So this is what I mean by it makes no sense. You got TKO, which is supposed to be a villain, but trying to be somewhat honorable in this match, and then trying to convince Redbeard not to do anything nefarious, and then trying to stop him at the end. But then when Redbeard go ahead and does what he does, TKO don't do nothing. So it was like a whiplash effect of, okay, well, if you're a heel, why are you being honorable randomly to Morbius? And if you're going to be noble, why all of a sudden flip the switch and not be noble and then not see. If I'm a guy watching this, TKO is still out there. He's still by the ring. How would he not notice his teammate then hitting this guy after telling him not to? And then going out there and maybe having a little more storytelling of him dragging him off.
Yeah.
So to me, that kind of pulled me out of the story angle for a little bit. But aside from that, again, Morbius is a talented wrestler. I love his character. I love his charisma. He's good on the mic. He's good with his moves. TKO did a little better in this match than he did in previous matches, but this is another example of putting somebody in there that's pretty polished with putting somebody in there that probably needs a little bit more, and mistakenly, because this guy's so polished, you start seeing the blemishes a little more than you normally would.
Yeah.
So but the match idea of them two fighting in the gimmick, it sounds pretty cool to have them together. If TKO was probably 6 months in, year in by this time, it'd probably been a really good match. And keep on, TKO. I know you're going to get there. I have all the faith in the world in you. You have an awesome branding, awesome gimmick. You're getting better all the time. I've seen you put the work in. Everybody needs to acknowledge that this man really is committed to wrestling. And I can't wait to see what he becomes as time goes on. And again, Morbius, without question, you're
hopefully,
and Red too.
And hopefully in 2026, a lot of these in-training storylines, these storylines are coming up during training practice. We cut back on them a little bit now that they're actually a part of the show. I think that's what happened. I think a lot of these guys, they started like going into business for themselves a little bit with like because they were practicing and they wanted to like feel like even their practice was a part of a storyline, stuff like that. And so you started seeing these side recordings and these side little bits being done that were on top of the training stuff. And I think hopefully we cut back on the side pieces because then things like that happen where you're confused by the finish because these side storylines and
Do you got something to say about what he's saying about this? Because I do. I just want to know if you've got anything to say about all that.
In regards to what?
These people
like people when they create kind of side storylines.
Well, they'd have to run it by booking first, and then they also have to make sure to edge it out straight from the beginning instead of just doing it on the fly all the time.
Yeah. I've got a personal rant about this, and people are going to hate me. They already hate me. I don't care. There's a lot of people that don't like me. That's cool. I'm going to say this as a person. Now being involved in multiple wrestling places, I do think that a lot of times people get talk on the side about these cool storyline ideas, and then when they go pitch it to creative, wherever the creative is and whoever the creative is, y'all are kind of like in the middle, or somebody's in the middle of a story they're trying to tell, so they have to tell them no. And they get their feelings involved in it, and then they go vent about it, and it creates a lot of unnecessary things to where it would be better if you just said, hey, a creative idea just popped in my head. I want to run it by you, not to do now, because I know there's probably storylines you're trying to get to, but can you maybe jot it down so after this pivots, maybe we could see if this could work? To me, that's the more professional way to do it, and also you got to think of it like this. It's a kind of a tit for tat. A lot of these wrestling companies are starting out. Of course, SWF has been going on now how long? Since you've made it live?
3 years, I guess.
3 years, right? You're trying to build it from the ground up, and I think everybody here, I appreciate them to death, and I think they're putting their heart and they're putting their soul into trying to build this up, and I think everybody's on board with building this up. But the thing is a lot of people that are involved are new people, including myself. I mean, I just started the wrestling business when you pulled me into it. So we need to all realize that we're trying to all build this as a show. And from what I heard from the old guys, the guys that have been around for a long time, you kind of earn your stripes before you start getting to call your own creative, right? And I think some of these guys are getting too carried away with trying to create all these cool storylines, and if they would take a little less effort into doing that and focus on their craft, get your craft down, get your in-ring ability down. Once you got that down where you're kind of pretty good and you got a feel for it, that's when you can kind of lax a little bit on that and go, what would be a cool storyline for me to do? let the people that have been booking a little longer kind of do that for you. And just that's actually a benefit to you if you think about it, because you're not having to stress out what to do. You're just being able to go out there and wrestle a match. There's always time. There's always time to get a story built in. There's always time. Trust me. I know this now because I've been learning. I've been learning from you, and I've been learning from Alan Tomplate. Shout out to Alan Tomplate. I've been learning about all this, and I think the guys, they get really excited and they get really passionate. And there's always time, guys, to put a story in place. But the main thing, if we're going to ever get this stuff off the rails, and then there's some successfulness involved where you get some cha-ching, we need to focus on the actual performances. That's just my personal opinion.
How do you rate Sunday Comic-Con?
I'll give it a D.
D for danger.
I give it a C+, and I'll tell you why. The matches in there that were bad, or what I mean by bad is not as good as the better matches, wasn't quite as bad as some of the matches in the first show. But there was also a lot more excitement to the first show. So, but what I'm trying to say is, like, the Battle Royal, I don't want to shit on it, but to me, it probably had to have been the worst of all the matches. And it was on day one. But we also had a lot more fans on day one, which is not the performer's fault. You probably noticed that too. There was a lot less people at the Comic-Con on day two. And even the matches in day two, the ones that were, I would say, not as good, were better than some of the things going on in day one. So, and also I will say this, the final match of the night, I think day one's match was better.
Yeah.
Ending match, just point blank.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the original day two last match was going to be Gray and Warhammer, and we switched it due to time constraints.
Yeah.
We switched it to the opener.
Yeah.
And that was easily Robert Gray versus Warhammer was match of the day for day two, and that would have been a solid main event. But it is what it is. Next up, Valley of Nightmares 3. We followed up by Valleys of Nightmares 3. Colton Keith versus Mikey Sparkles.
So let me get this straight before he answers this. Are we going to go over the matches first and talk about what happened at the Valley of Nightmares? Or are we going to go over the...
We're just going to do the matches.
We'll do the matches first?
We're just doing the matches.
No, I'm not going to say anything crazy about what you're thinking. I'm just talking about, like, the booking itself. That's it. I'm not going to go into any politics or anything like that.
All right, yeah, Colton versus Sparkles.
What do you think?
Probably the worst match of Colton's year.
I don't know about his worst match of the year. I mean, we talked about the Fatal 4-Way in Our Blood.
Yeah, I'm saying that the match was not good, probably because of.
I have to correct. Go ahead.
I'm not saying that the match is the worst in SWF history, but it was pretty bad, mainly because Mikey Sparkles was out of his element.
I have to correct something. I don't think Colton had a bad showing at that Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah.
I just think he was caught in a Fatal 4-Way that didn't do well because it got thrown together in a hurry because of someone's emotions, and the other three had to slap.
So wait, are you commenting on his performance or the match as a whole? You say that's the worst match as a whole that he was in, or his worst performance in the show?
Worst match.
Okay.
As a whole. I mean, Mikey Sparkles, he hasn't wrestled in quite a long time, and it took a whole lot out of Colton Keith.
That's right. Anyways, but yeah.
Okay, and again, for everybody to realize, I'm not talking as Fortune here. I'm talking as Kevin. I kind of disagree. I think the match was pretty good. I think it was one of the better matches. And I think Sparkles did a pretty good job. He sold for Colton. I liked the match. Yeah. And I think Colton did pretty well. If you want to say there was a few spots that could have been better, I'll agree. But overall, I think they did pretty good considering they just slapped that match together pretty fast and just went with it. So I liked it. I didn't think it was horrible, and I think it was a good solid match to begin with. And also, yeah, I don't know how Rusty Sparkles was or wasn't, but I'll tell you this: on any given day, if they're all in good standings, I think Sparkles and Colton would have good matches.
Yeah.
I think that was a good idea to put them together. I think it was also good storytelling to kind of bring that back. I think that was pretty cool to bring the idea that Sparkles didn't like the way Colton's been acting and that Sparkles didn't realize that Colton had changed. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Next up, OG Dollar versus Dusty James.
Great match.
Pretty good match. Finish could have been better.
I hated this match, and I hated the finish, and I hated it.
See, I agree with you on the finish.
But I wonder if like my brain. I wonder if my brain judges matches on the finish. I started thinking about that recently. I'm like, because a lot of when I structure matches a lot, I think of matches by their finish and not necessarily their meat. So now I'm starting to think, what if that's how I judge matches? Is that like that last 30 seconds or something? I don't know. Well, that's how my brain. Like I don't know if that's how my brain's starting to work recently.
I'm gonna say this for me. First, how do you honestly before I answer this question, Danger? How do you judge matches? Break it down for us. What are you really looking for each match? Is there like a kind of like a number system of things you're looking for? How do you judge it?
Psychology, work rate, character, finish.
Okay, and that's awesome. And for me, I'm kind of nuanced to a degree. I've become nuanced. I used to not be that way. I judge a match by the individual's performance based on how I've seen them perform in other matches versus the particular match he's in. I judge the booking of the match, which is what are we telling as far as this match? What is it leading to? Where did it come from? And how did it manifest now that we have it here?
Yeah.
3, I judge the in-ring psychology, which means the moves that the wrestlers pick to use and what it's trying to lead to, and then of course the finish itself.
Yeah.
This match here, I thought it's a pretty cool pairing.
And it was a callback because they actually did interact in a promo somewhere in our blood.
But I think that the match becomes stagnant for a little bit. Like it kind of drew some dead air.
Mm-hmm.
I think the ending could have been a lot better, but as far as the match itself, I don't think it was terrible.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as good as the match before, of course.
This next match went about 8 minutes too long. maybe 6 minutes too long. I'm getting crazy, but I think this next match went 6 minutes too long. I think it went 16 minutes. It could have done 12 because of the amount of people in the match, but that means like they just went a little longer than what it should have been. This was a 6-man tag, but obviously this was starting to a bunch of errors occurred. They had practiced for a different match, and we're doing a 6-man tag now, and it's TKO, Redbeard, and Aiden Chaos versus Havoc, Sean Morgan, and Remy. 6-man tag.
I would let him go first because I have my thoughts on all
I don't
this.
remember it.
Oh my gosh, I do.
See, wasn't that terrible though? I didn't remember it because Sean did good in that match. Sean did good. Aiden. Okay, I got you.
I don't give a shit.
I got you.
He could have put, what does Babin and them say? A 5-star performance. I don't give up. That booking of that match should have never happened. You put a bunch, I get hiding a bunch of new guys in some sort of battle royal and mixing some veterans in there to kind of hide it. Y'all just slapped a bunch of new guys in a match where I watched them in real time forget what they should have done. And they had no idea how to bail themselves out. There was a moment in that match where Ronnie Havoc literally froze. And you see it. He's like, you got him in the corner, what are you doing? There were spots in that match where people didn't know what they were doing, and it lasted too long because it was convoluted. If you were going to have, I think in hindsight, that match shouldn't have happened like that. And then they tried to throw a story at the end when a match had already went way too long, and the only reason why it didn't really do a lot of harm is it was in a festival. If we'd have had a bunch of people.
Oh no!
If
this was at an event, a paid event,
we would be.
There would have been a lot of. There would have been a more stern talking to
no,
in the back. There would
have
been a stern talking.
If this would have been an event, considering all these, and I'm not hating on these performers.
Yeah, no. This would have been a stern talking to.
No, the people that booked the match should have threw themselves out of the middle of I-10 and just let whatever happen to them. Whether it was a semi-truck hit them or a car, I don't give a crap. Yeah. That's called putting your talent in a position for failure.
Yeah.
Because they just wasn't ready to do that. Like all three of them by themselves. And it's nothing against them. They just got lost too many times, and then we're over there trying to freaking bail them out on commentary, and there's no bailout we can pull.
I don't know if they know. I don't know if they know they were lost.
They were.
Oh, I don't think they know.
Will you admit that they were lost?
I don't think they know.
But did you know they were lost? When you watched that match, did you feel they were lost?
No.
Why? You thought they knew what they were doing, and they went on too long?
No. I didn't say. I didn't say I thought they knew what they were doing.
Well, that's lost.
No, it's not. Lost is like not knowing what to do. Okay. I think they were away. I think they thought they were doing really good.
Well, I mean,
I think there's a transitional period when wrestlers are starting out.
Maybe me and you are using lost. Maybe me and you are using lost different, but we're meaning the same thing.
Like,
me, when I say lost, I mean like you don't really know what you don't know what you're doing enough. You're kind of lost in the weeds on where you're supposed to be going in the match. So to me, if you're saying that match went on 6 minutes too long, I'm telling you you're lost.
Yeah.
Because if the match went another 6 minutes, that means they didn't know what the finish was and they didn't work to it. And when you have guys in the ring hesitate and kind of pause for a moment, to me you're lost. You don't know what move you're supposed to be doing.
I've witnessed in this span of doing this people that have gone on longer because they felt like they were just doing so good, having so much fun, that this was what they were like. Yeah, we did so great.
Yeah, but that's,
you know what I mean. Like, so that's not like, it's not. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not even like it's like it's almost like they're lost. Yeah, they're lost in the fun they're having. And not realizing
they're still lost.
Yeah, okay, there we go. I'm meeting you there with the lost word. They're lost in the fun they're having, not realizing the product they're putting out.
Well, that's where the
what I mean?
That's where the problem becomes, where they're too arrogant and they're eating too much of their own crap. And I can say that, and I'll take heat for it all day long. That's a part where you've got to check your ego out the door and realize you're doing a performance for the whole of the show. And just because you think you're doing good, don't mean that you are. And there were several points in that match where Danger might not be able to relate to, where I was like, okay, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're working towards. And I'm going to tell you right now, the psychology of where they were bringing the people to the corners was game.
Yeah. Next up, you know what? I'm going to say best performance of the year. No, wait. I'm saying a particular. I'm saying.
I'm gonna stop.
Wait.
Because there's two matches in my head I can throw right now. It would be better than anything that you got to say.
No. Not of the year. Not
said the year.
No, of the character for that particular wrestler.
Okay.
I'm saying a particular wrestler's.
Okay. I'm glad you defined.
I'm saying a particular wrestler's.
On that one.
Perhaps, possibly, a particular wrestler's best performance of the year.
Okay.
Okay? Particular. Gluttony versus Damien Sport versus King Violent. I think it's King Violent's best performance of the year. His best performance of the year. He took. He took.
It's absolutely nonsense because I don't remember it.
He took the moves. He took the move. He took a thingy. He took a Samoan drop. He took that great. Took the other thing pretty decent.
Look. When I'm saying King Violent, or I'm saying that he needs to work on stuff and he's rusty, I don't think I ever recall hating on his selling ability. Let's get that straight. I disagree. I think.
What do you think his best performance of the year was? So
Well,
we'll get there. We'll get there. We're not even done yet.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna go right
Well,
at you. I'm gonna go right at you.
What of this year? What was his best performance?
He didn't have a best performance.
No, his.
Yeah, I'm talking about King. We're talking about King Violence.
No. What? So you're saying that? So there has to be a best. Everyone has to have a.
Tell Alan he muted. Check your audio. No audio to stream.
Hey, you're messing our stuff up.
What stuff do you want that dream?
Hold up. You made our stuff mute. Ugh.
Well, I'm trying to get a ride home.
All right. Well, we're not. Okay. Love you. Dang. Oh shit! They heard me.
They'll be all right. Are we good now?
Hey, you're messing our stuff up.
All right. I can't even see the video.
Just go ahead and put it back.
Okay.
We were talking about Ethan versus Robert Gray, right?
I strangely
At
can't.
the Halloween bag.
Yes.
I will say this again.
He was shooting on his wife. These bastards.
Is that gonna be loud in the background?
All right.
Okay.
We're good.
I will say this. I thought the match was pretty good. I think it would have been better if there wasn't any booking things that went on in the background, and I'll leave it at that. Ethan is a good wrestler. Robert Gray was kind of back on a pretty good run of getting back to his normal self, because I've always thought Robert Gray had a lot of potential. He's a good dude in the ring. I would like to see him kind of, and I think he's starting to lead towards this, I'd like to see him kind of branch out a little more. I know he likes to use the super punch a lot, and he likes to use that kick, but I would like to see him branch a little more into different things, not be scared to kind of mix it up. And I thought that had the potential to be a really good match, and it was decent for what it was. I don't have any major complaints.
Gotcha.
I just, you know.
Rick Lee versus the associate Bobby Babbitt.
I expected better from the both of them.
I think it was a pretty good match. I think the problem was they went into the gimmick of throwing his stuff out to the crowd and doing all that stuff a little longer instead of being more in the ring. Because I'm gonna tell you something, Babbitt is an experienced wrestler. Ricca is an experienced wrestler. I was just hoping for a good back and forth. I get what they were doing, trying to placate to the crowd because they're at this event. It's a showcase match. Yada yada yada. It's fun to have the crowd interact. I think it kind of went on a little longer than it should. I just wanted to see them really get at it and see what they're capable of against each other. Also, being two juggalos, it would have been really cool to see that. Overall, I didn't think it was a bad match. I think it was one of the better matches. I think anytime you put someone like Babbitt in the ring with Ricca, it's going to be a good match. I just think some of the characterizations kind of got lost in the weeds during it. But other than that, I liked it.
This next match, it's a personal. I don't like it so much that I pretended it wasn't even a part of the actual event. If you go to my things, but
and you're a pretty laid back guy, so you saying that, I can't wait to hear this.
No,
match.
you're gonna be. I don't know. Psycho versus Warhammer, mainly because me and him. I think me and him could have done. I know that me and Warhammer can have a good match, and I am ashamed of that match because I know that I phoned that shit in. And
I'm not gonna say anything, but you as a person in Warhammer, I've seen you have better matches.
That's what I'm saying. Me and Warhammer can go, and so I knew when we were done with that match, and once again, I kind of like little theatrics I did with like the entrance and like there's always gonna be I'm always gonna like theatric stuff about it, but I know that me and Warhammer can go, and I know that I felt like I don't know if because of the atmosphere I felt burnt out and just wanted to get it over with.
Yeah, you might.
And then that was a disservice. I felt like I disserviced Warhammer by bringing him down there just for this match that he did with me. I enjoyed being in the ring with Warhammer, but once again, it wasn't spectacular like it could have been.
What was your thoughts on it?
I don't even remember it.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna say this, and this is not saying anything bad. I think a bunch of outside stresses caused probably a lot of your love for that match to probably wane a little bit. If anybody wants to see a really good showing of you as a person against this guy, there was a match where a Finnegan versus a Warhammer was really good. I think we know that. Well, it's true.
Oh, it's not me, it's Babin.
Whatever. Anyway, the thing is with that match, I do think y'all are both talented wrestlers. Shout out to Warhammer. Your character work is amazing. You're a good talent in the ring, and you do really good. I think Psycho on most days has pretty good matches. I just think that you're right. I think there was some things missing that could have been better, and it's also kudos to you for being willing. I think that's what makes a good wrestler, and for all the young guys, maybe pay attention here. You've got a guy that's been wrestling for a bit now, that can actually look back at his performance and go, I could have done better. It wasn't a really great match for me. So, and I agree. I think with y'all two in the ring, I expected a little better. I think the character between the two, the way it would have worked out better, is relying on your theatrics, selling a good bit, and cheating a little more. So yeah, I agree. I agree with you. It could have been better.
And then we did the Halloween Battle Royal. King of Halloween Battle Royal.
I don't remember it.
Don't remember it.
Okay, I'm going to tell y'all something. And I want anyone to correct me on this. I did not know the finish to this match. I never did. In all honesty,
I didn't either.
And if you listen to my commentary, if you hear me, I literally called out the finish because it was almost telegraphed. I said finger poke of death, and sure enough, it was. And I know why they did it. I'm not hating. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought there were some funny segments in there. Shouts out to T. Gilmore. I thought him coming in there and providing some really cool entertainment value where he confused the other components by pulling his ref card out for a moment. And then him cheering. I thought that was amazing. I thought there were some good moments with Gluttony. I thought there were some good moments with Ethan. I thought there were some good moments from everybody in the match. I thought it was what it was. Even though it was thrown together, and some of these matches that are thrown together, I critique and hate. And there was some spots that wasn't very good. There were some moments. There were some times where it looked like it kind of went along. Some of these matches I've noticed, like I thought that one match y'all put together, that one Rumble that you did, was really good. It went really well. I think it was at one of the Halloween. It was at one of the. It wasn't at this one, but it was at one of the previous ones. Went really well. This one here was pretty decent. I think it just had a problem where we got kind of stagnant for a moment. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't the worst match of the night. I can say that justifiably.
How would you rate Valley of Nightmares 3? A through F.
D minus.
D minus. Danger with the D's, man.
I get conflicted because if you ask me if it was if I had to rate it against all the other Valley of Nightmares, it would be one of the worst ones, and not because of the performances. I just think there was a lot of things that the setup was kind of thrown at the last minute. I think some of the booking kind of caused some of the issues, and it's not the booker's fault. It's just kind of the way things happen in the background. So for me, I'm gonna give it a C plus.
C plus, man.
I'm not shitting on it, but it wasn't. It could have been. I think it had potential to be better than what it was. Unfortunately, when you have some of the great talent mixed in like that, I think it could have been better than what it was. That's all I can say on the matter.
Final 2 events of the year, and then we're gonna start handing out awards. Hope you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
What the fuck? Okay. Poison. We opened up with Tyson Sport and Damien Sport versus L House Tragedy. Thoughts on this match?
I thought it could have been much better than it was.
Yeah.
I agree a little bit with Danger, but I also want to say this. I thought Keenan did a little better in this match. Shout out to Keenan. I do think there was a few things he did kind of off. One was his verbiage, and I seen you tried to cover it.
I was like, this is a family show.
This is again, Keenan. I'm not hating on him. I'm going to tell you right now, when I first got with y'all, so everybody that knows that's not familiar with King Violent, he was pretty freaking good. And he still can be, he still is in a lot of ways. His theatrics can be good at times. He's pretty decent on the mic when he wants to be. He sells his ass off. No one will ever convince me that he's not a really good seller, because he is. And I just think once he gets his mojo back, we'll start seeing a lot better of it. I think the other two did good. I mean, Tyson's good at theatrics. Tyson's pretty solid in the ring. anytime he messes up, it's minute. It's not anything you can go, shit, you just sucked. And same thing with Damien. You have another guy in there that can sell his ass off. And then when we pair you, that's also good at theatrics. That's also can sell his butt off. That can do. I don't think it was a bad match. I think it could have been better considering I know I've been around y'all for. Hey, y'all, anybody tell me I'm wrong? Tyson, Damien, Keenan, you're not here, and you. I've seen y'all enough to know that y'all could have probably put on a better match.
What's funny is I think Paul London actually kind of he kind of jinxed the match at Waffle House. I was telling him about the tag match, and he goes, "Oh, it's heel versus heel. Ah, man, I don't know." And I'm like, "Oh shit, you're right." But it was heel versus heel, so it's kind of rough. Because like, who do you cheer for?
Yeah,
it's two teams you hate.
Well, I know a lot of people claim that heel versus heel is not great to do, and I hear everybody say that, but I think sometimes it's okay to break the monogamy and give the fans something different. I mean, honestly, I think sometimes wrestling companies, and I'm just going to say this out loud, people can hate on me and say I'm stupid for saying this. All the old heads, people that know better than me can hate on me for saying this, but I think there's nothing wrong sometimes with giving the fans a matchup they've never got to see. You can always, if you're a talented creator and you can write, you can always bring heat back to the heel later. If you're confident in yourself, you can break you can do it. I just don't think you should do it very often because I agree it creates problems with keeping a heel because you're going to eventually cheer. I get that. But I think every once in a blue moon, give the fans something, give them something they haven't seen before. And I applaud y'all for doing that.
Match 2. Havoc versus Dusty James versus Superior Sullivan. Danger.
Oh gosh.
This was not necessary. It should have been one-on-one with Dusty squashing Havoc.
I got told multiple things to this match, and I'm not going to reveal what I was told, but I think there was a lot of confusion in this match. I will say that. Mm-hmm. I don't know what was true and what was false, so I'm not going to call it out here, but I'm going to say this. Again, you have somebody trying to play Peacemaker for whatever reason. I don't know which side's true. And it getting slapped together like this, I think they did what they could do. I think, again, Dusty did pretty good with what he was able to do. I think Ronnie is still green. He had a couple of good moves. See, the problem here, a lot of people would say whatever they want to about Ronnie, but I think I see his progression. It's there. It's like fine wine. It's just taking a little time. He did do a couple of good moves, but again, there were some transition moves I think he could work on. Sullivan did what he could do there, and because of the slap together in a hurry, the slap together probably caused the match to be worse than it could have been. That's my personal opinion on that.
Next up, Aiden Chaos versus Sean Morgan.
It was okay. I mean, those two had a lot more to do before they could have a better match, but this is a start.
Okay, and for the record here, I'm not going to critique Sean too much because Sean, you asked for my critique and I gave it to you. So I'm going to lean a little more into Aiden when I'm talking about this, just so I give a fair critique back, even though he might not have asked for it. You have two guys there that have a lot of great potential. I think you can agree with that. I think people can objectively agree for that. I like the fact that Aiden already has this good sensibility to play to the crowd. I know he can work on it. I'm not saying he's great at it yet, but he's one of the things that really gives me a lot of hope is he's already showing it.
Yeah.
So that's part you don't have to pull that much out of him. I think both guys are pretty good in the ring, and I think they looked decent for what it was. But I think the finish to the match got kind of botched a little bit from several angles. I think that the ref was trying too hard to keep the finish intact to a point to where some of the counts seemed awkward. Like all of a sudden a second was 5 seconds long before the next number. And I think they did too much for the finish. It should have been as simple as they got pissed off, they fought their asses off, and they forgot that the count was there, and then we got a count out. Or one of them snapped at the last minute and tried to run in, but it was 1 second too late. And I think that the finish, the thing that took me out was the finish was a bit waney.
Okay.
I get what they were going for, but the execution wasn't as good as it could have been.
TKO versus Kyron. Danger.
Bad.
Again, I'm going to say this. I love both guys. And I have all the confidence that we get great wrestlers going on. I have faith in them. That's why I take. I'm not trying to give myself flowers here, but I take time out of my day to be a part of this. One, I'm grateful that you allow me to be part of it, as much as I am grateful that Adam Toffley allows me to be part of things. I come around because I'm taking time out of my day because I have faith in y'all. So when I say this stuff, please don't take it so personal that I'm hating. But the beginning of that match took me out of it. It kind of was wonky. So let me get this straight. The idea is that TKO and his homeboy are having some sort of problems. But during this time, his homeboy, Redbeard, has had some sort of metamorphosis, right? Now he's this dark character. We didn't get any transition to this dark character. Now he is. So for me, as a viewer, as a fan, keep that in mind. This is whiplashy to me. I just seen you at the Halloween bash be yourself. There's no real transition. And then now I see you as this dark character. And then we have this girl come out here, lay a skull down, supposed to be given a note so the commentator knows what to call, but the note was never given. So we're confused. You were confused too, right? Mm-hmm. We're confused. We don't know what the hell's going on, and I'm pretty sure the fans don't know what the hell's going on. So the opening entrance was kind of wonky. That took us out of it. And again, characterization work, one-on-one. The worst thing I can say about this match was the character work. There was no stakes. TKO tried to pull it in a little bit in certain areas, and then it looked like at times Kyron/Redbeard tried to pull it in, but there was not enough vocalization. Me, I kind of had some knowledge behind the scenes a little bit, so I kind of understood what they were going for, but if I'm a guy that doesn't know anything, I would have been pulled out of it because I don't know what the hell's going on. It's like, okay, why are they not talking? You just talk for a while all of a sudden you quit talking. And if you're going to quit talking, the other guy should be frustrated that you're not talking and should be yelling the whole time, speak to me, give me something to eat on. That was my biggest problem. As far as their wrestling capability, it keeps getting better. I have faith in the world, and I know they'll get there. These are some good guys, and I want to tell everybody that I'm saying this. These guys put a lot of work into these shows, so please give them props. Everything I'm saying is just to help them get better.
Then we did Mike Grizzly versus Iron Belly. Danger.
Mike Grizzly, he tried, being that this was his comeback to SWF, he seemed a little bit out of it psychologically. And I think that was what threw the match off a little bit.
To me, this was a pretty good match. I think that people liked it. I think we had two big, massive guys going at it. Maybe the only part that I could see might have been a problem was some of the in-story part, because it was just like poof. But as far as the actual performers, what they did, the moves, the match, everybody there loved the match. I think even you could agree with that. And I think it was a good match. I personally don't have a problem with it.
Dante Alfredo versus Robert Gray. Danger.
I don't remember it.
I actually like this match.
I was going to say something too. I thought this was a little bit better showing from Robert Gray, and you could see it. I thought Dante Alfredo was always solid. Shout out to you, Dante. You're balling. I thought it was a good match for what it was. I don't hate it. I thought it was pretty solid, just like I thought the match before was pretty solid. So yeah, I thought they were pretty solid matches. I don't have anything to say hateful. It was really good. It made me feel. It kept me vested in the show, and it had some good moments.
Paul London versus Colton Keith.
Greatest match in SWF history.
Not to sound biased, folks, but if we're doing promo of the year awards,
Yeah.
can I get some flowers?
Yeah.
Can Rich Fortune finally get some flowers for the promoing? This was a good match. There was one spot. If I take my biases out that I could critique. Other than that, there were some really badass moves. In fact, that move where he got up on the apron and did that flipping off into a neck breaker, you have to admit that was pretty fucking amazing. And I think they got the fans involved. Paul London, you're an amazing man. It was nice to meet you. And for anyone that doesn't know you personally, this guy's a really humble man that really loves the sport and was really able to he was willing being what he is, was willing to talk to all these guys and give them a lot of pointers. He signed everybody's autographs. This man is amazing. Please go to his pages, go to everywhere. I can't wait to work with him again. Shout out to you, Mr. London. I think me and you had really good, awesome promo chemistry. And Colton, again, put on a really good performance. Colton even, and I'll say this, for everybody out there that looked at this match and maybe said this was not one of Colton's better matches, give this man some props, because I'm going to tell you right now, if you love the sport and you get to wrestle a guy like this that's been on WWE, and not only that, this man was a World Tag Team Champion for a year. If there's no way you want to ever talk about credibility, dude, Vince McMahon trusted this man so much that he gave him, he was a World Tag Team Champion for a year, and do we all not forget that awesome sell that he did? So, I mean, to be in the ring like that when you're an aspiring wrestler, that had to create some nerves and some shell shock, and I guarantee you that's what happened. I guarantee you put these two guys in the ring again, that probably wouldn't even be there. That botch wouldn't even be there. The overall match was amazing. I liked it, and I mean, to be fair though, and I gotta be a little hater here. Some of the problem with that match was also commentary. I think we got robbed in hindsight of a really good character commentary interaction between Danger and Remsen. I was actually looking forward to that. Yeah. And I think you can be objective here and say that probably would have been a pretty cool interaction to hear Danger and Remsen go at it on commentary.
That would have been
a match. That would have been
I don't know if he
awesome.
would go at it with these guys. He's been anti going at it with people.
Well,
Last time he went at it with somebody, he got his head slammed into the thing by Vegas.
Yeah, but Remsen would have done that.
I know.
I know. To me, I'm tell you right now. Another shout out to Remsen. He is a consummate professional. He's an amazing friend. I love the fact that I met this man, and he's a great friend. But I'm telling you right now, I think if Danger would have went full blown commentary like he normally does and been bombastic, and Remsen would have got into his character, I think we would have had an amazing commentary angle to just make this even a better match than what it was.
Well, the match didn't need to be better than what it was, because in my defense, this match didn't need commentary. Certain matches are so generational that it doesn't need commentary to tell the story. All you gotta do is let the wrestlers do the work.
I'm gonna agree to disagree. I think a match like this, it just makes it even better.
How do you rate Poison, A through F?
Since the event itself sucked so badly, it's an automatic F. And I'm sorry to say it, because while the main event was the greatest match I've seen in SWF history, it did not save the show. Because let me explain why.
Yeah.
The matches sucked, the venue sucked, the crowd sucked, because the crowd consisted of bank robbers, degenerates, and juvenile delinquents instead of an actual crowd, and that was why I was pissed at the whole event.
Okay, I'm gonna challenge you here. What specific match to you was that horrible, and why?
Well, let's see. With the exception of the main event, all the matches were terrible, but I think the one match that almost convinced me to leave the entire show was that weird match between TKO and that other guy.
Kyron.
Okay, now I'm gonna tell you right now. Again, I agree with you. The opening, I fell on my feet. But I will also say this. I would say that, I agree with some of your assessments. I feel like some of these matches, that goes back to that's why I made that statement earlier in the show. I made a statement, and I think it's true, and y'all can all fight me on it day long. I will dig my heels in, and you can hate my damn guts, but I still believe to this day, a little planning ahead of time goes a long way. And I think a lot of these matches, and I think even Danger, even if we disagree on certain things, you'll agree with me. I think if these guys did a little more pre-prep in these matches, would be a lot better, and you probably wouldn't.
So far, all the matches you really liked, though, were the ones that were not planned.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of these matches that are being done that way are by more people that are more accustomed to doing it.
I mean, TKO and Kyron, they practice their match every.
And did I say that match was that good, or did I shit on it? I said it wasn't that good. I never gave it any props.
Yeah, and they practiced it. So it was all planned.
But the thing is, you're trying to justify this by saying because two guys that are still new to the business practice it and that it still sucked, that maybe it's not good to pre-practice.
No, I'm just saying. I was just trying to
I get. I'm not gonna say this. I don't think anyone with logical sense would argue with me that pre-prepping for a match would make a match better no matter what.
Right. No. Yeah.
That's kind of
Makes it better. Yeah.
That's pure
Common sense. It is.
And I'm just looking at it from a logical point of view. I disagree with Danger. I don't think this show is a shit show. If I take Paul London out of the equation, because I'm gonna have to justify this, I think this was a B+. I think the storylines in the show predominantly were pretty decent. Besides that one, and I get what they were trying to do, and I think they'll learn from it. And they'll make. They're really creative guys, so I know they'll learn from it and make these storylines better. I think they need to trust you a lot more with letting you take their storylines and conforming it to your show to where it fits better. Because I think you have a lot more experience of getting your storylines across to the audience than they do, and they'll learn that, and they need to learn to just let you guide them. I don't think all the show was shit, so I can't agree with that. I'm gonna say, because I get what they're trying to do, and I can't be harsh on them like Danger is, because I know at the end of the day these guys are not trained WWE professionals. These are guys learning, and you have to also consider when you're hating on them how long they've been doing it. So there has to be you have to be willing to understand that too when you're grading them. So for me, I give this a B+. I think even with all the crap that happened, there was enough good things to balance it out to give it a pretty good rating. And plus, it's one of our better crowds too, and there was nothing there. I don't even know for sure that even with Paul London coming, and I'm not saying he is a draw obviously, but I don't know if that was really the case or if maybe it was just good promoting and it was some good matches that people look forward to.
Final event of the year, and then we're going to go into the awards. Fate. We are fresh off Fate, so this should be fresh on y'all's memories and fresh on your grading and talking about.
Before we do this, remember, I left commentary partially during one because I was supposed to, and I didn't really see the other match fully, so when we do this, I'm going to have to lean on you to tell me what you thought about it. I wasn't there for the match before Colton.
I don't think any three of us seen the match before the main event.
All right.
So we opened up with a 12-man VIP Fatal Roulette 4-way gauntlet.
It was confusing.
Is all you got to say on it?
Yeah.
Okay. Me, I'm going to be a little long-winded here. In hindsight, it was a good idea. I think it was really smart. You added the Christmas tree angle. I think that was everybody. I think, you know what? Honestly, as hokey as it was, I think people really loved that storyline we did at the beginning. I think I was worried. I really was worried that some of the ones might have felt cringy about him being tied, but actually they thought it was hilarious. They actually cheer you getting tied up.
Yeah.
I don't remember getting cheered.
They were cheering. I think that's a couple
I
of
didn't
them
hear
did.
it.
But I'm gonna tell you right now that wasn't me. But we went with it. Thing is that match, I agree with him. It was confusing. I think while it was a good idea, I think it went way too long. It ate too much time in the show when you had all these matches behind it. I liked the Santa angle. I think it was cool putting Santa in there. I did like the fact that Babin went out there and made the fans interactive, but I think the way we could have sped it up was like this. I think we had somebody like a locker room leader like Rimson come out there, and we went to the back and told them, and I'm gonna break the veil a little bit. Hey, this is not WrestleMania. Don't do too much, and I think some of them still tried to anyway. I think that's part of the problem. I also think that they relied too heavily with in-ring communication instead of just having some sort of thing in their mind where they could just if I can't get to the communication, this is what I need to do. I think speeding it up faster, and I think me and you talked about this, and I'll give a little veil here outside. I think maybe you should have did an online survey with the first 4 contestants. That way we'd already had the first 4 get in the ring. That would have sped it up. And then from there, we could have had the interaction. So that would probably took an extra 5 or 10 minutes off of your time. It would probably made it move a little faster. I think there were some really good moments from a lot of the guys. I thought Phoenix had a good showing in his return. I think Aiden Chaos had some good moments. I think Jax had some good moments. The only problem I had with Jax is it looked like he went to the well too many times with a sharpshooter. I think King Violent killed himself. He tried too much. And that's, you know what, the whole entire time, guys, we've been talking about this, what I've been saying. Ring rust. If if you have a lot of ring rust, don't try too much. Do something comfortable. We don't want you to die out there. I like King Violent. I love Keenan. He's an awesome person. And I want to see him more in the ring. I don't want him to break his leg and never be able to wrestle again. I think everybody had some good moments, but again, I kind of agree with him. I think it got stagnant. Things went on too long, and there was some confusion.
Danger. Did anyone in that match stand out to you? Any standouts in that match?
Well, there was you, and then there was the monster Jade Sawyer, and I believe there was, was Aiden Chaos in that match?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the three.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I would agree with Aiden. Aiden Chaos was definitely a standout.
And then we followed up Tyson Sport versus Drake Bishop.
I've seen them have better matches, so.
To me, it was a pretty decent match. It wasn't a horrible match. It was pretty good. I agree with him. I think they have the capability of putting on a better match, but it wasn't a bad match. I think there was some good story work a little bit in there. I think again, if we're talking about the match as a whole segment, I think me and him had a pretty good back and forth on promos at the end. I thought he does. Tyson, to me, I'm gonna argue with y'all because I know what you think. Tyson, to me, does have the capability of playing a heel or a face. I just don't think he feels he could play a good face, but I think with a little bit of tweaking, he could be a good face. Tyson did a really good job on the heel work, and I think Gould did a really good job in the in-ring work as far as the moves and stuff like that. So I think it was a solid match. I do.
Robert Gray versus Dusty James.
Not good.
The match part of the way was pretty decent. I think part of the problem in that match was, for me, if I'm going to take my biases out of it and look at it objectively, the ending to it a little bit didn't make sense to some degree. Because if the idea was for Robert Gray to be a little overzealous and go back in and taunt, and if Rimpson's character is like his cohort, why not would they both go back in the ring and get a little... If he sees his character go back in the ring, why wouldn't he help him? Instead, he kind of left him to his own demise.
Yeah, he's heel.
I think in hindsight, what could have been a better angle would have been if Dusty did lay him with a chair. Dusty should have held on to the chair and kind of provoked Rimpson, and then that caused Rimpson not to go in the ring. Because then that made... To me, that made...
Okay, yeah.
I get what they were doing. It's kind of like Rimpson's like, you know what? I'm trying to train you, but if you want to be a dummy and get hit, that's your business. I like that, but I think a little more dramatic, it would have helped. It would have helped. To me, the angle I'm pitching would have helped Bad Guy more than anybody. It would have gave him a little more cadence at the end. Mm-hmm. Even though he got screwed, he got a little more cadence. But overall, it was a decent match. I'm not going to hate on it.
Mike Grizzly versus Sean Morgan.
It was all right for Mike Grizzly being a heel and such. Because now we got to see the better side of Mike Grizzly.
Are you upset that he's saying it's just all right?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
No, dude. This is why I don't agree with him. But I love Danger because Danger normally has some really great takes. But I'm gonna put Danger to task a little bit on this. For one, Mike Grizzly did a hell of a job as a heel. I have never seen him like that. He actually bought me into him.
Yeah.
Because it intrigued me. It's like, how is this good guy acting like this? And it even helped me with my commentary. It really did. And as far as match quality, dude, Sean Morgan put on a fucking clinic. He did amazing for what he... Now, I'm not saying he was the greatest wrestler of all time, but dude, not only that, he wouldn't have had that good a showing if Grizzly didn't sell like he did.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, I vehemently disagree with him. In fact, I push this match as one of the best matches of that show, and arguably it was probably a better match than probably half the shows we had this year.
Well, here's the problem with your logic. I thought that Mike Grizzly needs to be a little more amplified as a heel to sell the matches further going forward.
Well, this was like a but then he's still trans. This was like he just turned heel. He just gave El House.
And that's what I'm gonna say right here. I get why Danger's saying this. Danger's saying, as far as heels are concerned, it wasn't very great. But I would ask you this, Danger. Can you at least concede and maybe meet me in the middle? that for the first time we've seen Grizzly really be a real good heel since way back when. Was it not at least pretty good for his first outing?
It was okay, but I expect better from Grizzly.
There you go. I can accept that. I'm just saying, we got to also understand that was his first time being a heel since way back when he was somebody else called, what, Headstrong or something?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think he did better heel here than when he was as Headstrong.
Yeah. I guess none of us seen this match. The participants of this match
Tell me what match it was.
didn't really like it, but TKO and Kyron versus Havoc and Associate.
I didn't. Yeah, you're right. I left by then.
And I think Jade uncuffed you. Okay, so we can't really critique on this tag match. Associate.
Well, hold up. See, this is the thing. I got kind of confused because I thought, and I'm just going to peel back the curtain a little bit. I thought that we were going to do this thing where I was going to stay out there for a little bit, maybe part of the way, and then once Kooky Carl come out, I was going to leave. But I went down and looked at my notes, and it said that I leave with him still there, so I just left.
Yeah.
And
See,
so,
well,
no, I'm not saying it hurt anything, but I'm explaining why I wasn't there to watch the show.
Yeah.
Because hypothetically, in some cases, maybe I should have been there part of the way. So I left. So in all honesty, until you throw the film out, I can't give a real justification.
No, yeah, and
whether I like it or not.
so we gotta leave that one. But a lot of the performers in the match didn't really like the match. They thought it could have been better, and so it may not. It's probably not gonna make match of the year. So.
Yeah.
But then we got Colton Keith versus Ring Bully 2 to close the show. Their first match of the year in SWF was Colton Keith versus Ring Bully, and their last match was Colton Keith versus Ring Bully. They started the year in SWF facing each other. They ended the year facing each other with their second outing. How was their second outing?
Did you see it?
Oh shit, he was in the back.
Couldn't see it.
He didn't see it.
If I take my biases out of it, it was a better match, I think, than the first one.
Yeah.
There was more stakes to it. Colton, to me, I mean, I know Colton is pretty hard on himself. He's a really hard critic, and that's a plus to his character because that means he's working really hard to get better. But honestly, I would say he was more consistent in a lot of ways in this match than he's been in certain matches. Not all of them. I'm not saying that for a whole year. I'm not necessarily saying this is his match of the year, but it's got to be somewhere close. I think he was pretty solid. And I think Rimson did a really good job. I think the selling was on point. I think there was some stakes involved. And I think that Robert Gray actually hit his cue. He managed to get his leg up when he was supposed to. And then the only critique I have about it, and I shared this with you already, I had to kind of blur the lines to where I didn't want to overuse my authority to run him off, but he needed to be running off, otherwise why would he run off? But I think it was a pretty good match. I think the people enjoyed it.
Rate the show A through F.
I think in overall terms of entertainment, not counting the work rates and all that other stuff, I'd say entertainment-wise, B.
I agree. I think it was a B plus. I think overall, like again, I can't rate something I didn't see. I think all the matches were pretty solid. I think we had some really good matches. I think objectively, Colton and Rimson was a pretty good match. I think Grizzly and Sean was a really good match. I think that Tyson and Bishop was a pretty good match. You had some really solid matches mixed in with maybe a match I don't know about, with a match that was pretty decent, but I think just went on too long. And so I have to give it a B plus because I can't really crap on it that much. It was pretty good.
All right, guys, we have completed reviewing the year. It's time to hand out awards. This is the hardest part, the most cretaceous part. This is the most controversial part of the entire night. Everything we just said, all that critiques, that ain't even controversial. The controversial part is this part. Guys, you know what? We're gonna do. I don't want to do too many numbers. We're gonna try to maybe. We usually do top 10. Let's do more of a
top 5,
a bronze, silver, and gold type of thing.
Let's do at least top 5.
Top 5. We'll do top 5.
This will be hard enough.
Top 5. Danger. Do you remember everything we just talked about today?
No.
Can we
Fuck.
can we
Shit.
generally discuss enough matches to where we can kind of put it into a bubble where he can? So, for example, I'm gonna throw a match out there. I'll do this. Can we agree that the Colton versus Rydell should be in discussion for match of the year? Is that can we all concur on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we concur that Paul London versus Colton Keith was one of the matches for the year?
Yes.
Will you agree with that?
Yeah.
Can we concur that Grizzly and Sean, while Sean is new, has to take some consideration there because it was pretty good?
It's a
He's not even arguing it. Can we concur? Let's see here. I'm trying to think of some other matches of the year. Morbius versus Desmond. Do we have any complaints that Morbius versus Desmond Mason wasn't a good, just straight up really good match?
I don't know if I've seen it.
Oh,
he forgot about it.
Well,
So.
you called it.
he forgot the match existed.
What about you?
It was okay.
Okay. What are some matches in your head that you're going to put up here that you? Because I mean, you booked these matches. You of all people should have some things in your head as to what matches.
How's this? We're gonna do this year. We're gonna do a little devil's advocate.
I think you should go down each one of these shows really fast and just let's just figure out what match of the show was, and that would probably tell us what. That would be a quick way to do it.
We're gonna do devil's advocate.
Okay.
You're both gonna tell me your top 5. We're gonna do an online polling. The last year online polling got a bit controversial, but we're gonna do online polling. But that way we at least get y'all's, and we're gonna break it down where they have to choose. Where you get y'all's consensus, and then we get an official consensus. That way, it's voted on by the masses. All
I'm
right.
not trying to be biased, but I already know who Wrestler of the Year is. I'm not gonna say nothing yet.
I'm
not gonna say nothing yet.
Okay. We're starting on. We are going to start on. You know what? Let's start on event of the year. Event of the year. I won't.
I don't know if I can narrow it. I'll try.
I want 3 or 5. 3 or 5 from you. Starting with Danger. 3 or events of the year. Top.
Okay, I'm gonna pin you down to help him and help me. Criteria. Should that be a criteria of
The
best
overall
matches?
I mean, y'all rate it. So
okay,
y'all did rate these a little bit. I mean, you got. Let's see, Fate. You both gave a B. Poison, you gave a B+. You gave an F. Island of Heroes, we got a B and C. Day 2, a C and D. Valley of Nightmares, a C, D-. Sugar Crash, a C+ and an F. Easy Marks, B and a D. Golden Summer Bash, B- and a D. Total Mayhem, we got a B+ and a C. That might be one of the better rated ones. In Our Blood, we got 2 C's. Game Over, B+, D-. Determination, B and D. Honestly, it's y'all are saying that Total Mayhem was based on what y'all told me.
Review us what matches were on the real fast. Just name the matches real quick.
Total Mayhem was Hawkins versus Phoenix versus Drake Bishop. Okay. Morbius versus Havoc. OG Dollar versus Damien. Alfredo and Robert versus Sons of Plunder, where we got the Crimson Mask. Okay. Colton Keith versus The Mountain. L House Tragedy versus Jack Strong. And then Tyson Sport versus the surprise Rick Wadley.
Our individual thoughts on the match is not reflecting what I think is the match of is the event of the year.
Okay.
So I mean, it might be solid, but that doesn't mean I think it's the event of the year because this is my thing. I'm going based on what matches were booked, the value of them, the storylines that are put in place, and the overall value of the show. My thing is this: there's a confliction here because what I think that you tried to go on a limb and really put a good show for, that I think was tried to be a good show, was the show that had your Sugar Crash and the family affiliate finale. I think in hindsight, regardless of whether it turned out to be great, if I'm going to say show of the year, like where y'all put all y'all straight up juices online and try to produce a valuable show, that has to be considered. because that was really a lunge on y'all's part to put on an amazing show. I honestly think the Paul London show was really good, not just because he was there, but just because there was really some solid matches. I think this last show was really good. And I think our Comic-Con, the other show that I would also consider would be the show, what is the show that you think?
Danger.
I named you about 3 or 4 of them that I thought were pretty big contenders.
So yeah, he's saying Sugar Crash.
The Sugar Crash show, our Dread show that just happened. Not
Yeah,
Dread,
Fate.
sorry, Fate. Fate and Dread, same thing. Fate, that's actually a D&D.
Poison, you said.
Poison.
Danger. Event of the year.
I'd say number 3 is Total Mayhem. Number 2 is Comic-Con Day 1. And number 1 is Fate.
Comic-Con Day 1 and Fate. So y'all are saying I'm gonna put this on a vote to find event of the year. We'll put it online. Sugar Crash, Fate, Poison, Total Mayhem, and Comic-Con Day 1.
Now, see, I'm going to agree with this, but I want to make this very clear when I do. I'm not saying these 3 shows had the best matches in them.
Right.
What I'm saying is I'm looking at y'all's attempt to make a really good show for the fans, the idea of the stories that were going into it, and the most bang for your buck for what you were trying to put out there. Because you're saying show. You're not saying quality. You're not saying what was the best match. You're saying what did we do as SWF to put on a great show for the audience. That's what I'm basing this off of. To be clear to everybody out here.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I vehemently agree with what he said.
So we have.
You tried really hard.
So we have the top 5.
I think the Sugar Crush show, and I think.
And we're gonna put that to a vote online to see what is definite number 1. So.
I think you should put 4 in there. I really think there's 4 of them in there.
Okay.
I think Comic-Con Day 1. I think Fate. I think Poison, and I think it's Poison, the Sugar Crash, and the Sugar Crash show, whatever which one that was. I think them 4 should be able to stand up as your runner-ups.
Next up, a match of the year, and we're gonna let.
Can we at least?
How many do y'all want to do? How many do you want to give? How many do you want to give?
I want to give the single match of the year and the gimmick match of the year because there could be a problem. There might be a problem where you can't disperse the 2. And what I mean by gimmick match is any match other than a one-on-one.
Let's see.
So it could be a tag team, it could be a triple threat, it could be whatever it is.
Match of the year, and we'll do one side Danger, one side Fortune. Match of the year, Fortune. And if you want to give me a few to be put in to be voted on.
I think you should do that because I don't know if I can land.
Give me a few so to be voted on. You're both going to give me a few. You can do 3 to 5. 3 to 5.
Let him go first.
Danger, 3 to 5 matches of the
year.
year.
On you because I got.
Colton Keith versus Paul London. Let's see what else.
Colton Keith versus Paul London.
I know one you're going to name. I can help you with it. Because I know you love that Colton Keith versus Aaron Rydell.
Let's go over some matches that y'all mentioned throughout the night.
Thank you.
Phoenix versus Drake Bishop, 30-minute Iron Man match.
Yes, that's got to be put in.
The Lost Boys versus Morbius and Hawkins.
Yes.
Y'all keep mentioning.
In fact, I'll go ahead and take them out of the equation if you want. I'll say the Lost Boys versus Morbius and Cody Hawkins should be tag team match of the year. Might as well just go ahead and give them that flower right off the top. That has to be the tag team match of the year. Everybody in that match did well, and they might. I don't know if they think they did well, but I think when you put it up against any other tag match we had throughout the year, that has to be bar none the best. I don't know if you can even argue that.
And then we got Colton Keith versus The Mountain. We got
Colton versus Rydell has to be
Colton versus that. So Fortune wants to do Colton versus Rydell.
Well, I'm asking Danger. Do you agree that needs to be put into the middle of it?
Yeah, it's a contender.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're just coming up with contenders. Do you, Adam? Do you have an honest
I don't.
Do you have an honest objection to? I know. Maybe I'm just so happy that what Sean did, and maybe I'm getting caught up in that. But do you think that Grizzly and Sean's match deserves to be put in the middle of this? When you think about all the matches and you think of that match, when you consider,
I think it was a good showcase. I don't know, it was match of the year.
yeah, to me, I was.
But I get what you're saying. I know why you would
blown
want.
away.
I know why you would want to put it there.
Yeah,
And
I could
it's
be wrong.
you can. I mean, it deserves its flowers. I think there's a bit more aspects to be a match.
Yeah,
of the year,
you're
but
right,
I think
you're right.
I think it was. It helped. That match helps Fate be as high quality
Yes.
of what it is.
We'll at least give it flowers there. Yeah.
You know, yeah. We got Coulter versus Mountain. We got the Sugar Crash ladder match. the Rims and Mox Mosley, Mike Grizzly, El Jefe.
Do we another thing? Do we consider Rico versus Tyson 1 to be up there?
Rico versus Tyson 1.
And you got the Iron Man match between Ghoul and Ash Phoenix or Phoenix.
You didn't tell me to write it down.
Yeah, the 30-man match.
All right, write it down.
Definitely, that dude, that has to be considered, in my opinion. That should be a no-brainer. Because I didn't know that they could pull it off that long, so they did. Is there any other matches in your head that pop out to you? I still think Morbius and Desmond should be considered, even if it's not. I just think
All right,
it
Morbius.
was a very good, just straightforward match. And sometimes a less straightforward match is still a really great match, even if they don't think they did very well.
Morbius Desmond.
What about Grizzly and El Jefe? Did you think that was worthy of it?
Yeah, I do think it's a.
I think if we get a pool of matches that we think are really good, we can narrow it down. Because then we can start judging it instead of just. There's so many matches. How many matches do you think that was on Ballpark that you did this year? There was a lot. That's what I'm saying. It's.
Danger. The only thing you've listed right now is Colton versus Paul London. Give me at least 2 more. There's all the Island of Hero matches. There's the Poison matches. There's Tyson Maddox versus Ring Bully Remsen. There's L House stuff, Psycho stuff, Colton stuff, Grizzly stuff, Alfredo, Remsen, Ricka, TKO, Mike Grizzly FA. We've kind of gone through a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of what we said was really good. But 2 more from you. You felt was. It's personal, you know. Don't personal feelings.
Yeah.
2 more.
Trying to think.
Okay.
So this ain't easy.
I got you.
That was a lot of matches. I think next year when we do this, we should circle whatever match of the event that we pick, and that would probably help us narrow it down in the future.
Yeah.
Like if we do each one of these events, I think we should do it like this again. But when we do, we should circle what we agree on as the match of the night, and that will help kind of. If we circle the match of each event, that will probably help us narrow it down. Because then we could come up with a top 12 or 15 however many events we have.
Because we said that Robert Gray versus Warhammer was match of the night for Sunday, but then you like Tyson Maddox versus Ring Bully Remsen for that first night. I don't know if you liked Psycho versus Colton Keith referee Ming Chen. Bastards. Tyson and Damian, Aiden Chaos versus Sean Morgan, Mike Grizzly, Iron Belly, Dante. We're kind of raw and thin there, man. There was a lot of there was like.
What? Why don't you name him the matches we've picked so far, and then he can decide if he agrees with them or if he wants to add to it.
All right. So far, we have Colter versus Paul London, Grizzly versus Jefe, Lost Boys versus Morbius and Hawkins, Colton Rydell, Phoenix Ghoul, Morbius versus Desmond.
Did you put the 30? Okay, you did do the 30-man match. Did you do Colton versus Rydell?
Yes. The only other matches that
Did you do more? You did Morbius versus Mason too. I got that.
the only matches that we haven't written down that he said he liked, but he's not saying again, is Colton Keith and Mountain and Colton Keith and Psycho, which is fine. But I'm just saying, you ain't said it.
Did you do Remsen versus Colton too?
I need to.
That was definitely a good match. It's definitely worthy of. And I'm not saying it because I was a manager on the outside. I didn't wrestle, so I have no stake in the game there. It just was it was a really good match. I mean, they probably think they could. I'm sure they're going to be like, well, we could have done this better or that. But considering the match versus other matches, you can't say it wasn't a great match.
Let's see. One.
I got an idea. Why don't you look at Danger's grades? Any event that Danger gave a C, I guarantee there's probably a match in there that he thought was good, and that'll probably help him decide what matches to tell you, theoretically. Because I mean, he's pretty harsh on his critics. So any event he put a C on, I guarantee there's a match there that he probably loved.
Well, I have to be harsh just to get the wrestlers to do better.
No, I get it. I think you're old school by giving. There's people that use what I call. Would you agree with this? Like, there's people that do positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement. You're probably old school.
F it.
On
Hey.
negative reinforcement.
We're gonna put down Grizzly versus Sean Morgan. Because you're right.
And the reason why I say it's a great match is look at the elements that could have went wrong. You have a guy that's changing his gimmick, and you have a brand new dude in the ring. And for that to have almost no botches at all, and the selling and everything.
So I actually I have 10 matches written down. We're gonna put it to a vote to see what's actually the number one. But we'll do like in a tier list of like that way we're gonna still release the top 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 events of the year, 10 matches of the year, wrestler of the year. Starting with you, Danger. Wrestler of the year.
Colton Keith.
I'm gonna make sure that the fans at home and the people watching this knows I'm not biased. But can you do me a quick favor? This will take you 10 seconds. I don't want to waste a lot of time. I know we're trying to rush through this. How many matches for the match of the year is Colton Keith in? Out of how many matches? This is an easy way for anyone.
So imagine we do 7 matches a show, and we did at least 12 shows. So what's that?
7. That's like 9. Was that 90? Hold on. You said 7 times 12. That's 84.
About 84 matches,
Yes.
give or take.
So out of 84 matches, we've narrowed it down to how many matches you got on your paper.
10.
10. Out of them 10 matches, how many matches is Colton in?
Hold up.
This is an easy way to figure this out on why I say this.
1, 2, 3, 4.
He's literally almost 40% of the entire matches that we have on there. Is there anybody that even comes close to being on that many matches?
For SWF, no.
For anybody?
Yeah.
Who else is in multiple matches?
Grizzly.
How many?
2.
Okay, well that tells your answer right there.
Which Grizzly won twice in a row. So I mean, he's
not,
bound to be in there.
I'm not saying. Well, that's the thing though. I'm not saying Grizzly couldn't have been it, or at least be. But I think the work speaks for itself.
Yeah.
For me, if I'm gonna be objective and take, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I love Grizzly and I love Colton. I love them both. They are both hard workers. They love their dedication to the show and their ring abilities. And I remember where they were and where they at now. Heck, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna give Weston some extra flyers from this. I'm gonna break the fold. Watching him lose weight on times when I was depressed for myself motivated me to lose weight. I fed off him is what I did mentally. Watching him put in all that work. But if I have to be objective, Colton's my pick, and it's not because I'm managing him. It's because objectively he has been in the most matches for match of the year, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
You have to give him 50% of that of each match.
And I want people to realize that when we do Wrestler of the Year, it's based a lot on the people hate this terminology, but like the people we don't have to bring in. You know what I mean? It's kind of I don't know. Do we count the people that we bring in? I don't understand. No. I'm gonna say this. There is a difference between Wrestler of the Year and Best Wrestler that we have. Does that make sense? Yeah.
And that's not hating on anybody for this.
Yeah.
Objectively, if you were to ask me who the best wrestler in SWF for the whole year is, I can name you 2 or 3, and I can about name it down to 1, and it's not bias, it's just fact.
Yeah.
This is not what we're doing.
Right.
We're saying who was the best wrestler of the year as far as what their capability is, what they did, and what they performed, and everything that goes along with it.
Yeah.
For what they are and what they did.
Yeah.
This is not saying who is actually the most skilled wrestler.
Yeah, I know.
So
No.
I can say this with no bias. Y'all can call me a liar. I will say F y'all because I'm not lying. It's objectively true. But when you look at how many times this person is in this match, and that's what I did for Grizzly, same thing. It's definitely Colton.
Yeah. Because we have good. I mean, we've had. We mentioned people before. It's kind of like when you give someone something and they're knocking it. They keep knocking it. Like it's some people just you give them a match and maybe for some reason they're feeling down that day and they just didn't.
Well, I can go a step further. Year 1, if we did this in year 1, I would have been confused between a couple of people. It would have been Vaughn, Crow, and Tyson.
Yeah.
And then the next year, I would have said Psycho had a pretty good run for Wrestler of the Year. And I could have went maybe a year or 2 later when Weston first lost his weight. I could have definitely said he was Wrestler of the Year. He ended up being Wrestler of the Year twice. And then you could just keep going down the list and seeing where people are. I think when we were in the gym, there could have been an argument, and there was an argument. Clayton, a.k.a. Phoenix, was in the running for be Wrestler of the Year because he did a damn good job. And I also think there could have been an argument for Drake, too.
Yeah.
So it's not about bias. It's about just looking at the facts at hand. But I don't know what you think, Danger, but for me, it's Colton.
I think he said Colton. I think.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to do any more?
I think Tag Team of the Year, you have to give flowers to that tag match, that tag team.
About Lost Boys, right?
I think you should do Wrestler of the Year.
All right.
Match of the Year, Tag Match of the Year, Gimmick Match of the Year, and call it a day. And if you want to do Ref of the Year, we can do that.
Do you want to do Rookie of the Year, or is that too in feelings?
No,
It's too early for that.
I don't think it's too early for that. I think we've had rookies throughout the year. We could be able to name one.
All right. Let's name some stuff.
They're gonna be Promo of the Year because I'm getting this motherfucker this year. Promo of the Year.
All right.
I think me and John got robbed one year for Promo of the Year. I think me and Powers had a really good interaction. There should have been a Promo of the Year for that. John, I'll at you wherever you are. Just my personal opinion.
Rookie of the Year.
Come on, Danger, you got one?
It's tough because
Tell us the criteria of the rookie. Give us a criteria.
Right now, which of the new guys
that hasn't wrestled for over a year? How about that?
Yeah.
6 months.
Which of the new guys that have started wrestling for SWF this year that are new are you excited at all a penny's worth of seeing next year? Their growth next year. Are you excited? Who is someone?
Since he's being vague, can you elaborate?
No.
Yeah, any wrestler that's only been wrestling for about 8 months that we just got. That's brand spanking new. Nobody's been wrestling for Your Honor. So in other words, no Phoenix, no Colton, no Grizzly, none of these guys. Pretty much who he's saying, I'll narrow it down for you even better. Ronnie Havoc, TKO, Aiden Chaos, Sean Morgan, Remy Remington. Who else? Who's another new guy that hasn't only been here for 8 months? Did I miss somebody? I don't mean to forget them if I did.
You said Aiden, Sean,
TKO, Redbeard, aka Kyron.
I thought we've had more. Maybe we don't have enough.
This is exactly why I was afraid to have this guy.
It's easy. Write it down. It's Ronnie Havoc. Just write them down. It'll be an easy way for you not to forget. Ronnie Havoc, Sean Morgan, Aiden Chaos, TKO, Kyron / Redbeard, Remy Remington, and you should be able to see that right there and tell me if I'm missing somebody.
Oh shit. Remy. What it is some people dropped off. That's why.
They're not here. That's fine. They can't be Rookie of the Year if they're no longer with us.
Yeah.
They have to be currently active.
So we have 6
a year.
Out of the six rookies of the year. Havoc, Sean Morgan, Aiden Chaos, TKO, Kyron, Remy. Who are you excited to see next year in their growth?
Well, this is going to be controversial, but I'm going to say Sean Morgan.
I don't think it's that controversial.
I mean, he's a Welsh superstar, and a lot of people from Wales don't understand how American wrestling works, but he knows how American wrestling works.
Okay. Me, this is where my problem comes. I'm going to narrow it down to two. These are the two that I'm having problems with. Maybe Adam, you can help me figure this out. I am kind of lost between Sean Morgan and Aiden Chaos, and this is the reason why I lean on these two guys. I think in-ring capability, I think Aiden Chaos is almost there. Is about him and Sean are about neck and neck. But I think the problem is I think Sean after this last match just showed me a gear I didn't know he had, which maybe gives me the edge, but where Sean maybe has the edge there in performance, I think Aiden has him slightly on the theatrics. So that's where I get confused. And this is not to hate on the rest of them. I think TKO and Kyron are just right there behind him like this. It's not even enough for me to, it's barely enough for me to gauge. But I'm gonna go ahead and call this, I'm gonna go ahead and be controversial. Y'all won't hate me because I love all y'all and I think y'all have a chance to be considered next year, but I think I'm going to lean with him on this. I think this last match with Grizzly sealed me slightly over Aiden. I'm going to say Sean Morgan. Barely. It took me a lot. I wanted to say Aiden Chaos because he had a good showing in the beginning match, and I think he's shown some theatrics, and he can show. And TKO showed me some things, and Kyron has too. But yeah, Sean Morgan for me. I'm just going to name it. If I had to just pin it for you, it's Sean Morgan.
Rookie of the Year, Wrestler of the Year. My God, matches of the year, events of the year.
So wait a minute. So what was our event of the year? Oh, you're letting him do that.
Yeah, they're voting.
Are we doing it? Did you go ahead and give flowers to the tag of the year?
We'll do tag team of the year. Danger. Any tag teams that stood out to you?
I'm going to say the Lost Boys.
I'm conflicted between three things. I'm conflicted with L House because I think you've put a lot extra build into that, so it's like a more stable. You can't, if you're saying me name a tag team of the year, I'm almost going to biasly lean towards Sons of Plunder. That's why I was only willing to do the tag match of the year because it's more concrete.
Oh, that's what you're saying. Okay.
Like if I were going to do a tag team match of the year, I have to say Lost Boys versus Morbius and.
Yeah, well, they're in. It's listed.
But if you're going to tell me tag team of the year, I'm going to probably be biasly leaning towards Sons of Plunder. I can't help it.
Yeah.
But I think an argument could be had that the Lost Boys, while they're around, were a solid tag team. I think Morbius and Cody Hawkins were amazing, but I just don't think we've seen that much of them. We could see more. And I think that's the same problem with the Lost Boys. And I think Sons of Plunder, unfortunately, have been tagging longer than you and Keenan have. So
Yeah.
that gives them an edge. So if you're going to tell me tag team, I'm going to go Sons of Plunder. If you're going to say tag team match of the year, I'm going to go with Lost Boys versus Cody
that's
Hawkins and
listed.
Morbius.
Is that it, man?
Promo of the year.
Okay. Promo of the year, Danger.
I'm going to go ahead and call it. But go ahead. He can say what he wants.
Promo of the year. Do you have anything?
See, promo. This is the tough one here.
Can we name a few?
Yeah, name some. You name some.
Me and Babin.
Oh, the band.
When
Fago.
When he splashed me and I screamed at him, you even said objectively that was pretty good. And I'm not
Fago.
trying to give my own flowers because without Babin that wouldn't have worked.
Fago band promo. What else?
Obviously, me and Paul London
Paul London
versus Fortune.
versus Fortune. Danger. Any promo sticking out to you that tickled your fancy?
Tough to say. I'm gonna have to think about this.
Give me one more and we'll call it a night, guys. One more promo of the year. Anybody tickle your fancy? Tyson interacting with anybody? Any of the? I know what I liked. I liked when he forced you to be my tag partner, and I was calm down.
Oh, I mean, Fortune versus Psycho.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like that, put it on there. We need more than just two.
Yeah. Mountain. I don't know if that's a promo. I guess it is. It's a segment. I don't know.
I do think me and Babin's promo was really good. The second promo we had was pretty funny, where I caught him with Fegu, and I did that yell. A meme come from that promo. But I do think Babin, and I'm gonna tell you this: I'm not trying to like take flowers for this, because without Babin, that wouldn't have been as good. Any of the promos I was in that I'm putting out here, without the other guy, wouldn't have been as good. I have to give Paul London, because he's professionally trained.
Oh, El Jefe
Versus
El Jefe.
Dude, he went at me more than I thought he was going to. I didn't expect that to go that long, and also Grizzly's interaction was pretty good in that too.
I like El Jefe's promo stuff in there. All right, that's 3. I think we're pretty good. Mention!
Oh, hey, there's one you missed.
What?
What about that one with me and Risson?
Oh, yeah.
Where he got real emotional talking to me about all the people he's went through.
Yeah, that was right at the end
At
of
the commentary booth.
Yeah.
Because he was upset that I didn't book him with London. Do you know of any other promos other than that?
No. All right, Danger. Fortune. Thank you guys for doing this year in review. We're going to go to the votes. Everybody, we are going to post these on the social media. Make sure to lock in your votes, share, see if people will vote.
One last thing, spot of the year, and I've got 2.
All right.
The receipt has to have some sort of extra knowledge. Receipt, you agree?
Spot of the year.
And you could put receipt, and if anybody has me being splashed with Fegu, and what was another spot that was kind of crazy that happened? Tyson mocking Jamarcus.
Oh my God.
That's got to be one of the craziest spots of the year. There you go. And if you could come up with another one, that's 4. To me, that's 4 crazy ones. The boss getting splashed with Fegu, the receipt, which I'm pretty sure should win because that was fucking crazy, and I think him mocking Jamarcus was insane. That was just an insane ballsy spot, and it has to get some recognition. I think that's plenty of
He wants us to do heel and face turn of the year.
That's pretty cool. Won't we do it?
All right, heel turn of the year, face turn of the year.
Danger, what do you think is the best? Will you do heel first? Heel turn?
Yeah.
I think the heel turn is going to go to Mike Grizzly.
Mike Grizzly with heel turn of the year for Danger.
Wait a minute. Was there any other heel turns of the year this year besides Mike Grizzly? Cody Hawkins.
Yeah.
He heel turned because they were faced as a tag team.
Yeah.
Then I thought there was one more.
I guess I technically turned heel, but I don't know if I turned heel at December, so it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I literally turned heel in the last month of last year. So, you know what I mean? So, I don't know.
I thought there was somebody else because I remember on commentary screaming about it. And it wasn't this last time. I thought someone did turn heel. In the middle, like, not recently.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
No. Kyron, or Shadow Raven is saying Coach is heel turn, but
we never knew what he was, to be fair. I never, as a fan, I never really understood what he really was. I mean, I never really knew if he was a heel or a face. I just knew his character had started becoming interested with our company and interacting with characters. But, especially what he did at the end of the year, where he kind of like, looked like he was going to hit somebody with a baseball bat, but really didn't. That's not really a heel move. If you're going to hit somebody with a bat, you're a heel, you're going to hit them with a name bat.
yeah.
So I don't know. I would personally, I'm not hating, but I would personally say we didn't really have a defined idea of who Coach was to begin with.
Yeah.
It was like a coming out party more than a turn.
Yeah.
All we know is he hated the sports, but hell, you can hate somebody and not be a bad guy. You can just not despise what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I think Cody Hawkins was a legit heel turn because he was for Morbius and he turned. I think that Grizzly definitely is a heel turn.
Was Associate a face turn?
I was never really a true blue heel or face to begin with, but it was a turn.
Was Colton a face turn?
Yes. Yes, because he was the leader of the kingdom.
Yeah.
And he was working for Johnny Powers.
And I don't think he was still kind of heel
for a little while.
going into. That was the whole thing. He was kind of like.
You had more face turns than you did heel turns this year, I would say that.
Yeah.
Because I think Babin, since his debacle, has turned more face. I don't know that Drake Bishop has turned face, but he has turned something.
Yeah.
I know for a fact Colton turned face.
Right. All right, guys. This was fun. Fun chatting. We're gonna do polls. We're gonna do social media polls that go on throughout the rest of the year. So we're gonna announce the official winners along with the social media awards by most viewed videos and most viewed stuff on January 1st. Thank you for tuning in, and always.
Hey, I'll get this out the right way. Until then, folks, I don't know what Danger went, but until then, Fortune out.